Well, good afternoon. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice or watching me on any social media platform via YouTube or Facebook, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and I am your host on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 1 to 4 p.m. You already know we're a little bit behind schedule because City Council ran long, and I'm sure I'll hear from some of you. My husband listened to a little bit of it. I don't usually get to hear the City Council meetings because I'm planning and researching and doing all the things that I need to do for this show. And oftentimes as I'm researching and planning for this show, I end up not using half of the stuff that I researched because I'm having these conversations with you guys, right? So it's another one of those days. I have to tell you this. I interviewed Sarita Scott and the young lady from, and I'm looking at her face, Janine Cook, and Denise James, and I think it was Keir Bradford Gray some time ago, a couple of weeks ago. It was a couple of weeks ago, actually. And in talking to them, you know, about what it's been like in the last year since COVID hit and what we were doing and how we've been managing, Sarita Scott spoke about the fact that she was making sure that her employees were okay, despite the fact that they were closed down. She continued to pay them, etc. And now that they were slowly reopening, as of tomorrow, you can be inside without a mask. I'm going to read a little bit of that for you. She spoke of the fact that there were about 900 people coming through her salon every month. So I made an appointment, and I went yesterday. Honey, see how cute Marva is? Marva is so cute, she can't stand herself. They shampooed my hair for 25 minutes, and I kept groaning, I kept stifling my groans, and then they put me in front of Whitney, who was just superb. She says, "This your first time?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Just let me handle you." And she went in and did such a wonderful job. My husband is absolutely bowled over by the look. So, Duafe Hair Salon, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You have done an amazing job. My hair feels healthy. My scalp feels open. And the people, it felt like being in a village of folks, right? The hairstylists were playing their different music. There were people in different parts getting their hair locked. Some people didn't have locked hair. They just had natural hair like I did. It was just an amazing experience. Best commercial I could have ever given you because it was just so good. So I'm going back. I'm going back, and I want y'all to follow my process because you've heard me say over and again, I want to make sure that I support black-owned businesses. And so everything I do, the earrings I wear, you know, the clothes that I design most of my clothes myself. If I buy clothes, I'm supporting black-owned businesses. I am not playing. Michael, do I have Dr. Emparu on yet? Maybe not. All right, Jamila, North Philly, how are you?
Hey, good sister, how are you?
I am so good. Are you coming to Monument Avenue tomorrow?
You are gorgeous. You are so gorgeous. I'm watching you on Facebook, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Facebook
How are you?
Live. And listen, you are so gorgeous. I just have to say that up front, and I'm not being patronizing at all. You're just the quintessential queen, okay?
Oh, thank you so much.
All that. You're so beautiful.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say I'm checking in with you because I'm going to call you and update you on several things that we need to connect in as it relates to us as black women, okay?
Okay.
But I just wanted to check in with you before your guest to say to you, I appreciate you so much. You are a beacon in the whole stratosphere. I love what you do with Sunday Fun. And I just want to say toot, okay?
Thank you, my sister. What a great way to start. Are you coming to Monument Avenue tomorrow so I can meet you?
Now, tell me about that, please.
Ooh, child, where have you been? In these Wacondan Street. Hold on. Wait a minute. Don't you dare hang up. Hold on. Marva's going to tell you. I'm sure they have it in my lineup. Let me pull it up for you so I can tell you. It is going to be at Fresh Grocer tomorrow from 10 to 1 p.m., 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Tiffany Bacon is hosting live at the Fresh Grocer on Monument Avenue. You've got to come see me. I am deliberately, because I have things that I do on Fridays. I don't usually get involved or do anything with WURD on Fridays, but tomorrow I am packing up my little self, and I'm going to be right there after I get off the bicycle trail. So if you want to come meet us. Come meet us. I will not be the only host there.
What time?
That's from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
I'm going to make that happen. Okay?
All right. I would love to meet you.
I just want to show you some big love, big time, and
Thank
that
you,
you're in the spirit of everything we need on Talk Radio.
Yes. Thank you so much, my sister. It's
All
just,
right. I'll
just
keep
wonderful.
watching on Facebook, which is what I've been doing. But I need to call in and say that to you.
All right. Thank you, my sister. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Sure.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. That was a great way to start the show. You know, my parents, when I was growing up, for those of you, if you're listening for the very first time and you hear my accent, I was born and raised in Jamaica. When we were growing up, my parents did not focus on what was on our face. They focused on what was in our heart. And so what you see showing up on my face every day is my love for people. I really stopped to think about how is this serving others? What are we doing differently? We had a heart for service from my parents who would always make sure that people were taken care of. I love upon my producers. I don't take them for granted. I love upon the people that I'm around every single day. When we're on the bicycle trail, we get in and everybody we see, we say hello to, even if they don't respond to us. It's just a good thing to do. Let me quickly, let her in for me, please, Michael, because I have someone at 120. Let me talk to her quickly. Dr. Emparu. Let me grab her. Hey, sister, how are you? My apologies. City council ran a little bit long. So, Michael, I have a guest calling in. Let me hold on, Dr. Emparu. Let me just I have a guest calling in at 1:20. He might be Terrence Gore. See if he is clicking into the Facebook thing. Tell him to hold on for about 5 minutes. Let me talk to Dr. Emparu right after I get off of this break, and then I'll jump in with him, okay? But either you or Brianna, reach out to him for me, please, so that I can do both things. Thank you so much, Dr. Emparu. Hold on 1 second, okay?
You're welcome.
All right. You are listening. There he is, Terrence Gore. You know what I'm going to do? Let him in for me on the break, Michael. Let him in on the break, and I'll just explain to him what's going on. We'll get the update from Dr. Emparu, and then we'll go straight to Terrence. Is that all right? Thank you, my love. All right, you are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Tune in Saturdays from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. to hear Empire Capital and Consulting founder Mark Palmer's show titled Black Money, Black Power. This show centers around black money and how black power is derived from money. Tune in every Saturday from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Black Money, Black Power, hosted by Mark Palmer.
Welcome, Black. It's time to reawaken, reopen, and renew as WURD kicks off our annual 4WURD Early Bird Membership Special. We have stood together every step of the way during the pandemic. Here at WURD, our hosts and producers, elders, parents, children, teachers, doctors, and community leaders stood up, shared resources, and supported each other through the airwaves, virtual events, and of course, the phone lines. We've stayed connected by every means necessary. Let's welcome the new season, the reopening of the city, and our new normal together. Stand with WURD. Join us Friday, June 11th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. for our first In the Community broadcast in over a year as we broadcast live from Fresh Grocer, 4160 Monument Road. It's WURD Radio back in the community. Start or renew your sustaining 4WURD membership for the special discounted price of $75, or if you just want to support the work we're doing, there is now an option to become a digital 4WURD member for as little as $5 per month. Visit WURDradio.com/earlybird between now and June 19th to take advantage of our early bird discounted membership special.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If you're just joining us, we started a little bit later because City Council ran live, and so now I have two instead of one guest, and like the quintessential professional that I am, I'm going to make this thing work because I think the both of them have something in common. I'm going to speak to Dr. Emparu for about 5 minutes about the COVID-19 and the vaccines, and then I'm going to Terrence Gore, who is about the art of healing. Mr. Gore, I actually signed up for one of your workshops, so you'll see me next Wednesday.
nice.
Oh, yes, sir. All right. So, for over a decade, Dr. Mparu has been recognized as a physician and surgeon who practices compassionate, evidence-based medicine. Upon completion of her undergraduate education at Texas Lutheran University, she attended Columbia. Then she graduated with a Master of Science, and she went on to graduate from Duke, and then she went on to be a surgery residency at Boston, and then Harvard University General Hospital, and she has just been amazing. And then I am going to talk about the art of healing. Being well is an ongoing and active process. The art of healing is a dynamic workshop series that employs a collage of creativity, movement studies, multimedia, and artistic expressions that enable both the teacher and the student to attain a higher level of self-awareness. You both are super important to me. Mr. Gore will understand once he and I begin having this conversation. So hold on one second for me, sir. I'm so looking forward to speaking with you. Dr. Mparu, thank you for your patience. I knew you were supposed to be on at 1. City Council ran live, so let's go. What are the numbers that you have for us in terms of the vaccines?
So very, very brief today. From the U.S., 63% has had at least one dose. And we know that at least one dose gives over 80% of protection from serious illness. So that's awesome. 52% is fully vaccinated. Philly has done much better from last week to today. Right now, 56% of people in Philadelphia have had at least one dose, and 44% are fully vaccinated. And there's talk that by June 11, tomorrow, the indoor mask mandate may go away.
Yes.
So that would be super exciting. And then on the international front, the biggest thing is the debate about whether or not the US is hoarding vaccines. We currently have more vaccines than the people who want to take them, whereas other parts of the world, as you know, people are suffering and are dying. And so we are trying
Jamaica
to figure out,
and parts of Africa.
absolutely, and India. So the President Biden, we're trying to figure out the best way to move forward, how to protect Americans, but also take care of the world. And so he's abroad, as you know, and has been giving speeches and doing all of that. So on the international front, that's the biggest thing. And then vaccinations are still going on. I have a few places that I can read addresses, but other than that,
here's what I want to ask you, because we've been talking about this. The World Health Organization has put out an edict very recently that traveling, they're recommending that we don't go to Europe, India, parts of those places, right? And so the thing that I still want to make people aware of, because folks are fighting in airplanes, punching out, flight attendants, they don't want to listen, is that they have to follow the protocol, A, and B, make sure if they're traveling this summer to see what the country of origin wants them to do. They have to declare a travel advisory. So they have to fill it out before they leave these United States, even if they're going to someplace like Puerto Rico, right? And they have to tell them where they're going to stay, et cetera, et cetera. Because I think people think this thing has gone away, and it could not be further from the truth, right? So let's talk just a little bit about that.
Right. So if you're traveling overseas, it's extremely important, like you said, to understand the rules for the country you're going into. So when you leave the US doesn't mandate you get tested. But when you're coming back into the US, you have to get tested. And I was vaccinated when I went to Mexico 3 or so weeks ago. I still had to test it to come back home. And you have to time it properly because it's within 72 hours. So if you can't get tested, you're not going to be able to come back home. So it's very important that even though the US doesn't mandate you test to exit, you're aware that you have to test to enter. And then the second part is what you mentioned. The countries you're going into have their regulations and they're not optional. You don't want to get to the airport and get turned back, which you will get turned back. So if you need to do your due diligence on the front end, when you're going in, and on the back end, what it takes to come back into the US. And if you have to wear your mask on a plane, it's what it is. If you don't want to wear your mask, don't travel. Like, I don't understand what's so confusing about that. Yeah, you don't have to wear your mask, stay home. The CDC has lifted a lot of indoor mandates. In Jersey, for example, you can go shopping with no mask on. And in other places you can't. So if you don't want to wear your mask, then don't go to places that require you wear your mask. And this has not gone away.
Right.
We are most likely going to get booster shots in the fall. I mean, we should know that, right? This is not the first time we've had SARS. We had it in 2012. There was a Middle Eastern version as well afterwards, which is why we got the vaccine so quickly, because there already was a biological scaffold upon which this was built. So we know what the flu does. It's going to come back in the fall and the winter. It's not over. It's only working because we're doing what we should do. Right. So if you work out and you build your muscle, it doesn't mean you should stop working out, because if you stop working out, you lose your definition. Absolutely. This is the exact same thing. What we're doing is working because we're doing it. And so we need to continue to do it. And we've done so well, you know, but we should hang in there.
So, Dr. Empower, before you leave us, so I can talk to Mr. Gore, you just opened your practice in Philadelphia.
Yes, I did. I'm sitting in the office now. Yesterday was day one. Yes.
So it's a chiropractic service that you have.
Orthopedic surgery.
Orthopedic. Excuse me. What did please forgive me. That was quite offensive on my end.
No.
Very different from chiropractic to orthopedic surgery. And I should know, because my brother-in-law is an orthopedic surgeon in Jamaica. So I have to connect it with you.
I think it's because I also do the rehab. That's why, because it's orthopedic and rehab. So we do physical therapy, occupational therapy, and we also give Suboxone for patients with opioid use disorders. Because a lot of these patients were orthopedic patients who got addicted to prescription opiates. Gotcha. So that's that for that specific population, for that one specific drug. I don't give any other narcotics. I don't give Percocet and all that other stuff. We give Suboxone to try and help treat their opioids.
Where are you located?
2340 East Allegheny. We are on the corner of Aramingo and Allegheny. Temple University is right across the street, the Northeast campus. And this used to be the Temple University's ENT, ear, nose, and throat department. And so that's where we are now.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Emparu. I am going to slide by and visit you tomorrow on my way to Money. I'm coming. I am coming to see you. All right?
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Take care, you too. Very nice meeting you, Dr. Gore.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Mr. Gore, how are you, sir?
Okay, and you?
I am so good. Thank you for your patience.
Oh, my pleasure.
I am so intrigued to talk to you. I have been on a journey, a health journey, all my life, really. Growing up in Jamaica, we were taught not to take a bunch of medications, right? And to use what is available to us. But living here in the United States, and a lot of the food that we have to eat is genetically modified, et cetera, et cetera. And so in 2019, I developed diabetes. And had a conversation with my doctor that if she allowed me to just give me a few months, I would be able to do it without medicine. And I've done it. I've not been on any medication since December of 2019, and I've been managing, and my A1C is regular. It's normal, right? So I look up the art of healing, and I thought, yes, you are exactly what we all need to embrace. It's mind, body, soul. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing, please.
I'm trying to figure out if I should start with my own diagnosis or
go ahead. Wherever you want to go. Wherever you want to go.
I'm diagnosed with a rare degenerative infectious disease called, it's from HIV/AIDS, but it's called PML. It's a rare disease that usually takes the lives of those who were infected with it in 30 days. But upon the reactions where I was blinded and disabled on the right side, I can't really work the right side as I usually do it, but my sight came back, and I essentially changed my mind about I'm not dying. So being in the hospital for like in and out for a year, I'm trying to get seizure activity under control. In between that, I found using my left hand was another source of taking advantage of responsibility of my own healing. So using that as a recreational creative medium, in addition to traditional medication, which I'm in the hospital, basically giving me Western medication, Western treatment, I had to embrace something alternative. and something naturopathic. So I did have friends bring me up specific herbal concoctions like juices and things like that. But of course, I would study just to make sure that the herbs and things did not interact with the medication, things like that. I'm blessed to have a homeopathic doctor, an Eastern doctor, herbologist. They're very, very aware of my medical condition, so they will not prescribe anything that will interfere with how the HIV medication is working in my body. So combining all of that, it's just as I do art. It's just the way that I live. So it's like a collage medium, like putting this together, put this piece together, put this piece together to make like a clear image of this beautiful piece of art, I should say. And the piece of art essentially is my art. And the Art of Healing program is the product of me actually teaching the process of what I do. So sharing the journey with everyone and using my background as the platform to make people understand that we have to take some sort of responsibility for our own healing. In addition to just listening to in addition to just listening to, okay, the doctor says, and the doctor says, and the doctor says, we're talking about the doctor here in Western medicine, but the doctors, it's about treatment here. We're talking about healing is where we want to go. So, okay, healing, we might not be healed in terms of saying severe handicap or disability like that. We may not be healed from that. Your body may not return the same momentum or the same movement that it had before, but healing goes deeper than just a physical characteristic. So that becomes spiritual, it becomes emotional, it becomes psychological. So that is like a combination. Again, as I'm saying, that's art. It's like if you're mixing paint colors together, you come up with a project, whether it's abstract, rather it's a portrait, rather it's clear landscape, and you can actually see, this is the product that's come about as a result of me using these mediums that I'm confident with using them, and I know what they are because I believe in what they are. So after I became stabilized, I went back to Bartram Village. I grew up in Bartram Village. In the 70s, we moved there, and we lived on Bartram Drive, and that was a stone's throw away from the entrance of Bartram Gardens. So we had a lot of activities in the project. It's just that I didn't want to do that. So there was something about the gardens that really attracted me. So there was basically, it's like a stone's throw away. They say, you just cross the tracks and a hop, skip, and a jump. It was literally a hop, skip, and a jump. Our backyard had a clothesline. There was a fence that was a cutout where you could hop the tracks and then you go into the garden. I said, so that's literally a hop, skip, and a jump. So we do that, and that's what I would do. And at that time, Bartram Gardens, which was really interesting, I didn't know the politics that Bartram Gardens was separated from Bartram Village. I thought that we were all one. Now, I did notice that there was not a whole bunch of activity in Bartram Gardens, where that was great for me because I feel like the whole garden belonged to me. And there were a lot of old factories and stuff like that back there. And I thought, well, what happened here where this industry kind of changed? Then I did some research to see what happened. And then I realized, when we moved in here in the 70s, these European people were moving out. And so I said, okay, I'm checking out the political landscape with that at the same time. So, the bottom line is, I said, the gardens are mine. So you guys can play around the projects all you want, but I'm going back here and get this dew on my body, get inspired by what's happening here, this fragrance. How do we have this urban structure smack dab in the middle of a city and it's like in a like an oasis
Right.
that's in the city. And I'm like, I'm taking advantage of this. And then you have a river back there. So I'm back there, just fishing.
Wait a minute. You were fishing. All right. So, Mr. Gore, hold on one second. I have to take a quick station break, and then I'm going to talk to you about what you discovered at Bartram Garden, because right here in Philadelphia, it's the second largest park system in the country. And I'm finding that a lot of people don't take advantage of it. We're flying to other places to climb these cliffs and valleys and things that are right here. Every Sunday, I walk in Wissahickon Park and I go into the riverbed with a group of people, and we climb up the trails and we explore. And there's something that it does to our brains. It makes us feel so much better and alive and awake and more appreciative of what's happening around us. Hold on one second, please. I'll be right back, okay? Let me just go over here and do this. Michael? All right, let's see. I have Deborah coming up at 2 o'clock, too, so I want to make sure that I do this. All right, you heard it here first. We're back outside for the first time since the pandemic. Join us on Friday, June 11th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Fresh Grocer on Monument Road in Philadelphia for our Reawaken, Reopen, and Renew event. Join or renew your Sustaining Forward membership for the special early bird price of $75. We will be outside, weather permitting, and just to be on the safe side, we ask that you wear a mask and observe social distancing protocols. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Welcome back. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Hi, this is John.
Hi, this is Juanita, owners of JD's Auto Body and Painting. We're located at 6300 Wayne Avenue, right there at the intersection of Wayne and Washington Lane.
We really like to thank all you WURD listeners for the support that you've given our business, and we really hope to see you in the future.
JD, tell them about our products and services we have.
We have a new state-of-the-art paint shop along with our body shop and detail shop. We can help you with the dents and scratches from the winter season.
Come to JD's Auto Body and Painting. Come on out and check us out. We're still honoring that WURD 10% discount. Give us a call, 215-848-5949. Again, 215-848-5949.
Thanks again for supporting our business. We really appreciate you.
See you at JD's Auto Body and Painting.
One thing we all have in common is aging. So age boldly by staying healthy, active, and independent. With Philadelphia Corporation for Aging, you can. PCA supports older Philadelphians with care in the home, nutritious meals, protective and legal services, and more. Through the pandemic, we safely helped older adults by delivering more than 2 million meals and easing social isolation. Get the help you need to age boldly and actively with PCA. Learn more at 215-765-9040.
Tune in every Saturday at 6 p.m. to Recovery Talk 101 with your host, Rick Ford, talking about addiction, treatment, and recovery. Right here on WURD Radio.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If you're just joining us, I have on the line with me Mr. Terrence Gore, who is doing a project called Art of Healing that will start on June 30th, 2021 from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Eastwick Pavilion, 5400.
No.
No?
The 16th, 23rd, and the 30th.
So this is, okay, so you have a thing here. The thing that was sent to me says this. You're talking about the workshops. What's happening on the 30th, sir?
That's the conclusion of it.
That's the conclusion. Okay, got you. So the workshops are all free. The sessions are, he's right, Wednesday the 16th, the 23rd, and the 30th from 10 a.m. to noon in the Eastwick Pavilion, a covered outdoor space. There will be a reception, exhibition of works created during the program on 6:30 from 12 to 2 p.m. after the final workshop. Registrants are encouraged to attend all 3 workshops, but are also welcome to attend 2 or just even 1. So there's registration. I tell them what the website is for them to register, please.
You can go to bartramgardens.com.
Okay.
And just look up the Art of Healing.
Okay. It says here Bartram Garden. All right. It's Bartram Garden. I'm looking it up. bartramsgarden.org. guys, and it hits here. And if you go under Art of Healing, it is right here. Yes, absolutely right here. So, well, we went to break, Mr. Gore. A friend of mine posted in Facebook, and she said she lived. She said, I grew up 5 minutes from Bartram Village and never visited. So I asked her, I said, what? How? Why? She said, I don't know why. I visited a lot of Philly, but never there. We just never appreciate what's in our backyard, right? Right. So how did you get Bartram Gardens to accept and embrace this project that you're putting together now?
What's really interesting is the Lomax Family Foundation had sponsored 2 of my Art of Healing workshops that were hosted at the Painted Bride. And I had a little breach in between doing the programs because I had another health challenge. And once I was stabilized, WRD they were doing an event in Bartram Garden. And I thought, Bartram Garden, that's my garden, you know. I didn't know that WRD, or I didn't know that there was any connection there. So, of course, I attended there because the WRD they're my people. And so I attended that. The program was phenomenal. And I just thought, well, if they're doing programs like this here, and I watched these other people over there that was doing some kind of farming kind of program, I just said, well, who should I speak to introduce my program, and let's see if I could do a program here where I initially wanted to do my program there. And they came over here to meet with me to talk about the program, but they saw my art. And when they saw my art, they see that most of my collection is created from mediums from Bartram Gardens. So they initially wanted to do the exhibition in the house. So COVID came about and put that on pause. So we kept communicating, and so we went back to the table. And then I was granted gracefully by, let me make sure I get my information correct. Give me a second. I hope this doesn't look too,
we have about 7 minutes left before I have to
say
goodbye
to you. And I was gifted by Claire Lomax and University Penn. She's the University of Penn Board of Trustees. She gifted me the grant to actually do the Art of Healing program. So, of course, I had already had an Art of Healing program curriculum. And I had chosen a population of seniors because I thought they are probably the most people who were affected or infected with COVID. You know, with the stay-at-home or the isolation piece of it, I mean, what did that really do to those folks and people? I mean, there's an uncountable amount of people that were lost, and initially the group were seniors. So that level of fear that was imposed upon their lives, what outlet did they have? What outlet did they have to release that, you know, to create some inspiration where they thought that their friend or their neighbor next door, family member was just going to die from COVID. So I thought, let me introduce the Art of Healing program to a group of people like that so that they could find another creative medium to express themselves, and not, even if you do a therapeutic approach where you can talk about how do you feel about what's going on right now, but do it creatively, where you're not sitting up in some formal setting where you're in front of a therapist and I feel like such and such and such. Let me say you draw that out. Paint that out. Sing that out.
So that's what these
write that out.
That's what these workshops are about.
Yeah. So the project is actually called journaling. So mechanically, it would look like if you were building a family album. So materials will be provided for all the individuals, all the participants to actually create a journal. But most of the materials will be organic materials, handmade papers, hemp string, tools to connect it, where you could create your own booklet type of project. If you want to, you could bring images and you just build it yourself. But I wanted Bartram Gardens to be the backdrop that stimulates everyone. Just the sight, touch, taste, sound, the do of it, just the energy of it, where people can come out, the seniors can come out and they can breathe. They can be relaxed, even with the social distancing order. Okay, we have enough space in the gardens where we don't have to be so concerned about, oh, am I going to get this from being right next to it? Even though we had this vaccination thing into place, we don't know who is vaccinated and who is not vaccinated. There's no way that the guards can say, well, okay, you can't participate in the program if you're not vaccinated. So I thought it was perfect. And I just thought, well, okay, higher power, what are you doing? Because I grew up here. And now I went to that place for healing for me, as an artist, as an individual, and here it is, I'm back there and I'm teaching now. It's like my life is going full circle and I'm back there teaching this program to elders. And I remember the oldest person, Mrs. Luke, and she's still alive, 102 years old. She's like the president of the project. And I have to visit her soon now this COVID thing is over. Just to let her know, Miss Luke, guess what I'm doing? I'm actually teaching a group of seniors in the gardens the Art of Healing project. And I say teaching loosely, though, because I'm only going to instruct you a little bit and let you just go for broke.
All right. So tell us again exactly where it's going to be and how people can register before we say goodbye.
You can register online. You can register online. You just fill out all the blanks there. And if, in fact, some older people don't necessarily have computers and emails and things like that, they could call in to Bartram Gardens. You'll see a number on the app as well. You could call in because I've been talking with them, and we've been keeping up with the numbers because it's only going to be a 25-person capacity. I mean, it's really for seniors, but.
So when you say senior, what age?
65 and up.
Well, then it's not for me. Then I'm not quite a.
That's okay, but you can come and watch.
I will.
It's a park.
Okay,
you can
so
come and you can watch. Yeah.
Okay, so for the WURD listeners, this is for seniors. This is absolutely free. Registration is required. I don't see a phone number on here for the piece that I do have. I'm just making sure that I have it. 215-729-5281 or reach out info@bartramsgarden.org. The workshops start 10 a.m. to noon. They are June 16th, June 23rd, and June 30th. I just want to make sure that I have all of that properly. And so I can't wait. I cannot wait. I'll be there on the 16th to see what's going on and so that I can come back and report to the seniors here what you're up to. Mr. Gore, thank you so much.
And the 30th, we're doing a reception that starts at 12. So that's going to be live entertainment. There's going to be an assembly of the participants' works so they can actually see themselves as artists. And they're going to be lunchbox meals.
Thank you so much.
And all of that's all those meals, the ingredients are all going to come from the gardens.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
You have a wonderful afternoon.
You
and
too.
I'll see you next Wednesday, okay?
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're quite welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So long.
Bye-bye. All right. Hold on. Sandra from Southwest, are you there?
Yes, I am.
How are you, lady? Yes, I can.
Good. I just wanted to speak on Bartram Gardens. I live maybe 6 blocks from Bartram Gardens, and I'm there all the time. The gardens are just beautiful. It's so serene, and it's an oasis. It's quiet. It's peaceful. When you live in the city, and you're surrounded by noise constantly all the time.
Yes.
You need a space where you can go and just be quiet and be at peace, you know, and that's Bartram Gardens. I'm up there all the time. Actually, on Saturday mornings, I had started a little group, a walking group. So right at the moment, I have like 4 women. We get together every Saturday morning around 10 a.m. I don't know how long we can continue this because it's really starting to get hot at 10 a.m. But and we walk for an hour. And I mean, it's just a wonderful place to take your children. You can have a picnic there. You know, they have swings for the kids. There's open spaces where the kids can run and play and not be afraid that they're going to get shot.
Right.
I mean, I just can't say enough about the garden. It really is a family-friendly, open, quiet, spiritual.
So, Miss Sandra, let me ask you this, Miss Sandra. You heard me talking about the Art of Healing program. Are you going to participate in it?
For some reason, I can't hear you.
Oh, I don't know why. Hold on 1 second. Can you hear me
you're
now?
Coming through a little better.
Okay. All right. So are you going to participate in the Art of Healing program that's happening there that's free for seniors?
I'm not sure. I think you said that's on a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday. Yes, ma'am.
And it's from 10 to 12?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm an aerobics instructor, and I have a class on Wednesdays from 10 to 11.
Look at you. You go ahead. I love it. I absolutely love it. I got to take a break, madam, but thank you so much for calling in.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
First Person Arts in Emok, Philly presents stories of celebration and family ties in Letter to My Father, Letter to My Son, Evolution. Thursday, June 17th at 7 p.m. Streaming online. Visit firstpersonarts.org for free registration and more information.
Join WURD Radio for a special live broadcast on Friday, June 11th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Fresh Grocer, located at 4160 Monument Road. As the city is set to reawaken, reopen, and renew, we hope that you too will start afresh with us. That's this Friday, June 11th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. with WURD host Tiffany Bacon at Fresh Grocer, 4160 Monument Road. This broadcast is being brought to you by the Fresh Grocer and supported by Dietz & Watson, My Independence at Home, Oak Street Health, Dr. Stephen Blake, Nubian Essentials, and Olaniyan Adefumi. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Independent Black Media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. As you are all aware, if this is your first time listening to us, every Thursday at 2 p.m. we have our livelihood segment around diversity and inclusion, race and equity as it applies to schools, school districts, board governance. And so today, my sister, who has always been here with us, Deborah Keys Wright, she's going to talk to us a little bit today about the incidents still happening around the country in the school system that perpetuates racist practices and behaviors. And we're going to talk about those national issues. And then next week, Deborah's going to tell us who will be joining us, honey. I am so excited. Good afternoon, my sister. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's always good to see you. I'm easing back into the saddle, if you will. And I'm like, I just need to talk to my sister. We're just going to have a conversation about this foolishness that's happening all over the country. The spaces that we work in is just absolutely ridiculous. And I don't ever want listeners to forget about it. We get complacent or just like, I'm just glad school is over. I just want to have my summer vacation. Yes, but we cannot ever take our eyes off of what's happening to our babies in the school system.
So I don't, for some reason, let me just say this. On behalf of the WURD family, our condolences to you for the
Thank
passing
you.
of one of your family members. You know, you continue to keep us abreast as you were dealing with all of that, and here you are back again.
Yeah.
After, you know, so thank you. We fully appreciate your
Thank you.
because we know it wasn't easy for you. Your eyebrows are popping too. I just need
Thank you. Girl, I'm trying to keep up with you, and I'm just loving your hair. I'm loving. You are so bold. You are just courageous, a risk taker, because you don't care what anybody says.
I do not. I picked up a snapping turtle off of the bike trail.
I saw you.
Doing?
I was screaming like, oh my gosh, it's going to get her. It's going to get her. But then you messed around with an alligator too. So I'm like, fearless. Fearless. When I grow up, I'm going to be like you.
Listen, honey, when I leave this earth, my body's going to be like, whoo, what a ride.
I'll say, thank you. Thank you. But the gentleman just before me, how timely, the art of healing. Yes. And, you know, the nugget that I took from that was I jotted down, take responsibility of your own healing. You know, and it's not just physical, it's mental, it's your heart, you know, the journey from your head to your heart, and then the hard part is going back from your heart to your head, you know, and so it is a journey. And so that was just, you know, because, you know, I kind of struggle with, am I ready to do, you know, and it was just perfect. You know, God is good.
Yeah,
God is good.
You know you're safe with me, right? You're absolutely safe with me. And we would make sure that whatever we talked about today was going to be okay. I want to share this with you. There's a young man that I was asked to mentor some years ago, and he is killing the game in the communications field. He doesn't have a college degree, and he is just doing phenomenally well. And one of the things I said to him while I was mentoring him, I'm just like a big sister to him, because really we had some great conversations, was this: do not let your ego write checks that your soul should be leading. I'm going to say this.
Yes.
Do not let your ego write checks where your soul should be leading. And as a direct result of him putting his ego aside and really grasping everything that was going on around him, his trajectory is amazing, right? And so let's flip that back into schools. I got a call. I'm sitting in Duafe, and of course, I know everybody in Jesus, right? So there's some folks in there from a school district, and she said to me, "Oh, they just got rid of a counselor left. There are no counselors of color in the school district, and they hired another white counselor to replace the white counselor that left." And she looked at me and she said, "I keep telling parents that they're the impetus. You know, they're the ones that can go to the school board meeting and have those conversations. Are we ever going to get to a place where folk just going to stop doing what they're doing and do the right things, or just going to have to keep having these conversations with them?"
No.
I know the answer to that. I don't even know why I go there.
You know, and that's why we stay busy. That's why others who do this work, because it's not going to stop. And we can't sit on our laurels and say, it's getting better. It's not, because each day our babies are victimized and they are traumatized. They are scarred. And so with all of these incidents happening, you know, the latest one, you know, I always want to start with this, what Frederick Douglass says, and you're going to, you probably heard this. He said, it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men.
It sits here in my office.
Yes. And so you can't give a child back their childhood. You can't undo trauma that they've experienced, and you can't alleviate the harm that's done. So you have to be more effective and cost effective. Do what's right with the power that you have to make sure that all our children are protected. And so you never can let your guards down and thinking, well, we're good. We have an equity policy. We have a we have a diversity and inclusion. We have all these things. No, because some of that are smoke screens. And you know that, or it's checking the box. Not saying that there are districts that are absolutely, you know, really working at trying to do a better job. But we know that since, you know, with the pandemic ripped the scab off, letting everybody know that we have not been serving our children well, our Black and brown children specifically well. And so there's no more, well, we have to get back to our norm, or there is no norm. That norm wasn't working. you know? And so what we have to do is just reimagine schools. That's the language that I share now with boards. Let's stop talking about this is our new normal. That normal wasn't working. Reimagine schools. Just, you know, have a clean slate. What's the best way we can meet our children where they are and give them what they want? Because these incidents, you know, just yesterday, something come across my desk when it was June 8th. And this was the heading. Cotton picking lesson leaves Black middle school students reeling in Spokane, Washington. Now, for somehow this brilliant teacher thought it was a good idea to have an activity for the middle school kids to say, you know, she pulled out a box of raw cotton and told the class that they were going to do a, quote, fun activity. And to see who could clean the cotton the fastest. What? Are you kidding me?
Meanwhile, Deborah, people still don't know about Juneteenth. Our children, I'm asking young people, what do you know about Juneteenth? Nothing. I spoke to a woman who was 62 years old yesterday that said she only learned about Juneteenth 5 years ago. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? The things that should be taught in our schools, we have to.
And it's not.
So
it's not. It's not, and they're afraid of talking about Juneteenth, and we don't even want to get into critical race theory. Oh my goodness!
Ask you about that. That was a major school board meeting for Abington the other night where they were just so explain to those who are not aware, because you know you and I know the lingo, know what all these things mean. Explain to people who are not aware what critical race theory is and why is it causing such a hullabaloo in school districts.
Right. Well, the key thing, it has race in the title. Okay. That's one of the problems for other folks. But it's a framework that is used to help you understand racial inequities, you know, and how they exist in society and how we can eradicate them. It's just a framework to help you understand that it exists. So why is this such a threatening thing to people? If we just want to talk about, you know, what it is, you know, it's that framework. And I'm loving this. I don't know if you've been following, it's an anti-racist education now, but the sister, Sylvia Duckworth, this other lady, Sylvia Duckworth, Dr. Angel Jones, and Kate Slater, they have it almost like in a comic type like this. Of really explaining what critical race theory is. And it's so simple, you know, CRT is an academic framework or a practice that examines how systems, policies, and the law perpetuate systemic racism. So when you're dealing not only in the school system, we know, you know, that's a whole nother conversation about, with police brutality, all of that stuff. But it's just a framework to say, hey, we are aware that it's happening. Let's sit down and talk about it. But those who are threatened by it, and you know, school districts all over the country, school board members are being recalled. Yeah. Hundreds of parents are showing up at board meetings saying, you are not going to be treating my child because that's racist against me as a white person. Just like, no, we just teach like equality, because you know equality is safe. You know, I got a piece of the pie, I'm going to give you the same piece. But we always say the difference between equality and equity is, what if I haven't eaten in 3 days?
Right.
Perhaps I need your piece of the pie as well. And so critical race theory, people are in an uproar. And as you know, legislation, they have passed bills to say you will not teach this.
Yes. Especially in the southern states, it's the most amazing thing.
It just happened in my state, in Tennessee. Absolutely. Unbelievable. And so what are teachers to do? What are our school systems to do to make sure that if we are really focused on what's best for all of our children, and we know that they have been traumatized, you know, what are you to do? You know, and I say to board members, if you know that the curriculum is not all of the history, it's whoever told the story, that's the history that's in it.
Right.
Absolutely. You know,
absolutely.
Unbelievable.
And what can board members do when educators like that? Because, you know, what we hear is, we didn't know it would cause any harm. We were just doing a lesson. And I cannot understand how adults who are cognitive, supposedly cognitive, think that was just a lesson, right?
There is no way. No way. And the principal, of course, the parent went to when their daughters were in a class, and they said they were the only black students in the classroom, of course, and the only students of color, as they say, that were there that day. But they were like, people were thinking, oh, it's not a big deal. So, of course, when the mother called the principal's office, they're like, well, it's a nice teacher. She didn't mean any harm. And then using language still to make it even worse, to say, well, what we can offer you is when your daughters come back, we'll segregate them so they don't have to deal with white teachers. What? Are you kidding me? And then this isn't the first time that this particular assistant principal had this type of conversation. There was a lawsuit. They went to ACLU to make sure that it was $10,000 or something that was lodged against that school system. But this principal has had this type of conversation before, and they still have their job.
So one of the things that I need us to discuss, because as someone who sat on a school board for a while, we need to talk about who we're hiring too, right? It's very important. As a school board member, I sat into the hiring of a few principals, like we were there to have the conversation, sat in with, all the interviews that were happening, the questions that are being asked, right? And you also have to pay attention to the superintendent and to the board members who are because they're bringing their own stuff to the table, right? So, I've been in interviews where it was like, well, they're too black. They're not, they don't say they're too black. What they say is they wouldn't fit into our way of doing things.
Right, and that's that code.
The code word. There you go. You got to know the code words that are being used, right? Will they follow our way? Will they do things the way we would ask them, or would they create a problem for us?
Right, and because they're afraid of it.
Right, because people who are qualified will not get those positions simply because they're too black. They didn't put a dot or a period at the end of a sentence, even though they're fully qualified, and they find other ways to tell them. Or they'll say, we have lots of minorities in this district, and they put in white women as a minority.
Exactly. This minority. No, that's why we need to call it what it is. Black people. How many black people do you have? How many brown people do you have? You have to be very explicit and intentional about your conversations. But the key thing in a lot of the training that I do is focusing on making equitable decisions. And it is with the hiring. Yes, board members you hire the superintendent. The staffing is not yours, but what you have to make sure is that there are practices and policies in place that will, when you say you want to diversify your teaching staff, well, where are you advertising?
Right.
Well, do you go to historically black universities to recruit? And so instead of just, well, we recruit, we kind of put it in this magazine. Well, who reads that magazine? Are you going where we are? So how intentional are you? And this is where board members have to have these conversations with superintendent about what the expectation is, because as you know, the board sets the direction and the expectations of where the district is going. And so if we want to make sure that we focus on equity and making sure that not only the board is educated and understanding what equity is, because there are board members who don't believe that this is good stuff to do either now.
Excuse me, and they're black board members who feel the
absolutely
same way. I have been put on this board. It's a great position for me to be in.
It's a privilege.
I'm not going to rock the boat. Then you don't need to sit on the board.
And that's where you dismantle things. You have to just tear it down. And you have to say, look, we're not going to be patching things up. Dismantling means to blow it up. Not saying you got to throw everything out, but you start over. You have to look at who are the teachers who have the least amount of experience. Who are they teaching? Are they with our babies who are struggling the most? Or, all of that. And yes, you have unions you have to deal with, but you can create a culture of your school district where everyone thinks that it is important to make sure that we are focusing on equity. And so when they feel that it's important, it's not just checking the box, then they will want to do this. They want, because you're really interested in educating all children. And we've always said educating all children, but start peeling away at that.
Yes.
Really? How are you treating black and brown children when they raise their hand? Just your body language toward them, like, what do you have to say? As if they don't know anything. Because again, we have to remember, board members, teachers, principals, superintendents bring their lived experience to the job with them.
Yes, they do.
And so if they're privileged, they bring it to them. Not saying that they can't be taught that this isn't how your privilege is impacting our students, how teachers who adults, we can oppress children because we're the authority. And so if you don't start peeling away about practices and behaviors that have just been allowed to happen, like it's not a big thing, it's okay. You know, and those who want to fight against doing this equity work, you give them more attention. Well, you can opt out. Well, no, the Board of Education, you say, this is not an opt-out type of thing. This is what we are doing from the top down. And then the key thing is holding people accountable.
You know,
it's written in your evaluations. How about that?
But there are school districts who have evaluation processes and don't use them. They'll say, we haven't done this in I can't tell you how long.
And shame on board members, because you know what? A little secret. Guess what, Andrea? You know, it's the law.
Thank you. That's what I told them.
It's the law.
They looked at me and was like, you can't work here anymore because you.
Right. Superintendents, principals, and teachers, by law, you must be evaluated.
Yes.
So it's not an option. So again, if you don't understand what your role is, being in that governing position, and you're just glad to be at the table, not knowing that your butt's on the menu, you know, and you don't know how to address it because they're going to tiptoe around you because you safe, you know, and we have to be able to show up and be us unapologetically and fight for our children day in and day out. We must be advocates. And then we have to, and I've heard you say this many times, and it is so true, help the parents get a support group for themselves. They need advocates to say, hey, if this is going on, this is how you address it. You go to the board meetings, you talk to the superintendent. If you have an issue with the teacher, talk to that teacher. If you can't get anything, talk to the principal. If you can't get it, go to the, there's protocol, but there are many parents who don't feel, well, they're not gonna listen to me anyway. And, you know, and I had worked with this one board that kept saying these negative things as if, I said, well, what we're not going to do is blame children, saying that they can't learn. Well, if the parent or the parents, if they would just participate in their children's education, then we wouldn't have all these issues. I said, oh no, that's not where we are not, because if anybody's sitting in the seat of a superintendent or on the board and you feel that way, it's time to look for a different type of job. You know, because that is just not acceptable. We are not going to blame children. They are coming to school to be educated. And you know what? It's your job to educate all children. And yes, we have challenges. Absolutely, there are challenges. You know, having to deal with the learning loss. You know, teaching and learning did happen over this last year. You know, it's just that it had to be done differently. And is there a gap of learning loss? Absolutely. So I always say, what's the plan to address it? What's the plan?
The most dangerous thing to a school district anywhere is a group of organized parents. I have said that, and not that the parents are coming in there to rip them apart, but the parents know what they're talking about and know what to ask for. Ah, Lord have mercy. I had a school district called me to do some work for them some years ago, and I knew immediately they were not ready. And I said it to the superintendent. He says, no, I like what you're doing. Da, 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 da. I said, you're not ready for me. Get in there. The first meeting, when the meeting was over, he said, if I am to do exactly what you're laying out for us to do, that means my white son would not be able to have the same access, and I can't do that. I said, okay, well, finish paying. Just give me, you know, because when I do contracts, I don't just, you pay me a certain amount up front.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
If
you want to go on about your business, go on about your business.
They're going about your business, because I'm not going to chase my money. I'm not chasing my money.
And don't you know, 6 months later, one of the people in the school district sued him, and he's now gone. Because you when you carry that kind of, that level of thinking, it pushes down into all areas of how you operate in the school district. Nobody felt safe. Nobody felt safe around.
No one felt safe. Just a defeated, deficit type thinking. And it's like, no, you will not be successful, because if you don't model it, your staff's not going to believe it.
Absolutely.
You know, you have to model it that, yes, we have challenges, things that are totally out of our parents' and kids' control. We have unfunded mandates that's coming down, but you know what? you deal with what you have, and it doesn't cost you anything from the state or from federal government to be kind to the children, to make sure that the environment, that you welcome them into the classroom. That costs you nothing. And so, but it's building that culture, but we're so used to what we've been able to get away with, Andrea, and you know this in the school system, but those days are over.
And
those days are over.
They're running scared. You can see it in the way, we'll hire a diversity and inclusion officer. We'll hire this. We'll put these pieces in place. And they put policies, quote unquote, in place that have zero energy, zero teeth, and nothing absolutely gets done, right?
Absolutely.
So I think this is the way we're going. That there are going to be schools now started just for black and brown children. I see Sharif El-Mekki heading in that direction, right, where they're going to get what they need. And it's a shame
and you know
that we
what?
have to segregate to get what we need to have done, but look what's happening.
But then we have to get to a point where we don't want to I don't want to go back to how it used to. But how was that helping us, and how is it helping us today? Because again, if you don't know the history of public education and how it started, and then you won't know that, we are repeating history again. I always like to share what Thomas Jefferson proposed, a 2-track education system with different tracks. In his words, he said for the laboring and the learned. Yeah. But there would be scholarships would allow very few of the laboring class to advance. And Jefferson says by raking a few geniuses from the rubbish. And the creators of the SAT thinking that immigrants were docile. All of this, we have been fighting from the beginning. We used to have to sneak and be educated. All of it. So what's different from today? What's different? So what's wrong with teaching our own? What's wrong with that? We have historical black colleges. What about historical black public education? What about that?
How about that? And that
unapologetically.
And you want to talk about getting them to do what they need to do? Start putting all those start pulling them out. Pulling them out.
And you know what goes with that too in urban education, and you know this as a former board member. The resources. All of these vendors, they want to come into urban education. Start pulling back. But again, we have power. We just have to learn, if we work together, how powerful we are. And it's not about getting back at anybody, white people or whomever. We're not talking about that. What we are talking about is finding the best way to educate our children, unapologetically.
All children, not just
all children.
Tell us what's coming up next week, quickly, so that we can.
Right. And next week, I'm actually going to have a superintendent come in and talk, and 2 students. I actually worked with this district before from Ohio, and all of a sudden I saw her on Facebook, and she was in a plane flying, and then the kids were, and this is what they were. They have this this program where they are teaching kids not only about aerospace, but actually the plane came and they got up in there, and I thought it was a model, simulation. No, these kids just beautiful, allowing kids to just something that they have never experienced in their life.
Oh, Deborah.
And I know that means a lot. From your background, you're going to love this. So I just wanted to just pop in quickly today and just chat with you, because you always make me feel good anyway when I talk to you. So
thank you, my sister. I just want you to also know we're getting ready to say goodbye. I have to take a break. I'm coming through Tennessee. I'm working on a large project, and I'm coming through Tennessee, so I'm going to stop and see you.
Let me know.
I will.
Thank you so much. I will see you next week.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
One thing we all have in common is aging. So age boldly by staying healthy, active, and independent. With Philadelphia Corporation for Aging, you can. PCA supports older Philadelphians with care in the home, nutritious meals, protective and legal services, and more. Through the pandemic, we safely helped older adults by delivering more than 2 million meals and easing social isolation. Get the help you need to age boldly and actively with PCA. Learn more at 215-765-9040.
Black Bras Abroad is a new show hosted by yours truly, Felina Jean. I've been an expat for over a decade, living across 4 continents, 6 countries, with travel to over 40 places in between. My show will feature spotlight interviews of compelling Black women who have also said peace out to the divided states and are thriving abroad. From Iceland to Istanbul, Madagascar to Mogadishu, and a host of other countries. Tune in every second Sunday of the month from 5 to 6 p.m.
Coping 19, brought to you by CDC and the Ad Council.
With everything going on, there may be times you feel like you can't handle it all. Journaling, meditating, and talking with friends and family can help you feel more grounded and better able to cope. Your kids are also going through a lot of new experiences, and simply talking with them about their feelings can be quite powerful.
Find more self-care and coping tips at coping-19.org.
Welcome Black. It's time to reawaken, reopen, and renew as WURD kicks off our annual 4WURD Early Bird Membership Special. We have stood together every step of the way during the pandemic. Here at WURD, our hosts and producers, elders, parents, children, teachers, doctors, and community leaders stood up, shared resources, and supported each other through the airwaves, virtual events, and of course, the phone lines. We've stayed connected by every means necessary. Let's welcome the new season, the reopening of the city, and our new normal together. Stand with WURD. Join us Friday, June 11th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. for our first In the Community broadcast in over a year as we broadcast live from Fresh Grocer, 4160 Monument Road. It's WURD Radio back in the community. Start or renew your sustaining 4WURD membership for the special discounted price of $75, or if you just want to support the work we're doing, there is now an option to become a digital 4WURD member for as little as $5 per month. Visit wordradio.com/earlybird between now and June 19th to take advantage of our early bird discounted membership special.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on wordradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. This next 40 minutes belongs to the WURD listeners. We're always trying to find a spot to get all your conversations in with me. And today, I start with Woody. How are you?
Well, I was having a wonderful time listening to you and the young lady. I think you said her name is Miss Deborah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It was very, very good.
Thank you.
She has the spirit of knowing what's going on. And in America, we're taught to believe in more than one race. Yes. That's just the way it is. When in that reality, there's one race called human with many cultures and ethnicities. There's one color called melanin with many shades. There's only one human race. But because of the way we think and design this, whether you're black, brown, yellow, whatever, all around the world, this country, America, has convinced everybody that there's more than one. Now, with that thought in mind, everything that you say in your mind or when you're speaking with people, think about this on a course of a day. How many times do you use the word the wrong way and not know it because of your ignorance? See, and you've been hypnotized. So you're subliminally seduced to believe that. But if you correct it each time you do it, watch how many times you correct yourself. I had a young white lady in here, and she had her child, and she said, "You do a great job because in my area I can't find anybody to cut my son's hair." She says, "Because I'm in an interracial marriage." And I said, "Well, what is that?" She says, "Well, my husband's black." I said, "But that's not interracial, intercultural, but not interracial." By the time she left the barbershop, she learned so much about what she already knew but didn't know she knew. That's the way this country, America, has designed and structured everything. So you dealing with this school system, that was the beginning of chattel slavery for the whole issue of not teaching that slave to read. So Miss Deborah, if she's still listening, I would love for her to read the article. I think you've read both of them, one to Biden and one to Donald Trump. Trump made the comment, African Americans, your schools are messed up. You can't get money from your banks and you're being gentrified out your neighborhoods. That man told the truth, never did anything about it. I have to mention this over and over because this is the majority of people who believe that white male supremacy is everything. So the key is human is the highest form of life. From the darkness of the beginning of being human, is where that black seed, that black woman, that black man, that's where all the other cultures, not races, came from. So with that thought in mind, that one race creates the original man to where we are today in being human beings. So we should not break up and say that we're not one human race, because it's only going to keep confusion. So last but not least, if she's listening, that article was written on September the 25th, 2016 to Trump. The other letter, a letter to Joe Biden, was written June the 2nd of 2020. So that was written to him. He made the comment that the brother wasn't black enough. So in order to bring people together, you have to discuss these separate individual cultures, because what we have in our school system is systemic educational discrimination. That's what we're suffering from. So until we understand how to point the finger at the person that's discriminating against you, we'll never be able to really cure the problem that we're having. So I appreciate you having her on today. Please,
well,
if you can get her
she just listened, and she said, spot on, Woody. You are spot on.
Please give her those 2 articles.
I will.
Okay,
I'll send them to her.
Now, you want me to go back and give them again to Mike?
No, I have them. I just had to key in your name.
All right, good enough. That's the one to Joe Biden from the barbershop, and also the letters to I can't even remember his name, Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Okay. All right.
All right, my brother. Take it easy. I'll talk to you soon. Okay. All right. Bye-bye. Maurice, how are you, my brother?
Please read them articles before you kill yourself. All right. Please read them damn articles.
I read one here.
If I hear about them articles one more time, I'm ready to cut my throat. All right?
What's up, my brother?
Now, I know you've seen the inner city council.
I did.
Come on. You know I stay right on point. I don't drift off into the nonsense. It was ridiculous. It was a mental breakdown. I called the office. I called her office to make sure that she was all right. That's how concerned I was. That was totally unnecessary what she did. Somebody should have told her, just chill, let it go by. But she just proved their point by doing that. The failure with Philadelphia is leadership. We don't have any leaders in this city. That's why we're going through so much nonsense right now. That city council wasn't worth a damn today. They didn't talk about nothing. All they did was read off numbers, which none of us knew what they were talking about. And the people that spoke, all they talked about was getting that CBD oil and trying to be a private contractor. Nothing about the city problems, nothing about unemployment.
Did they talk about the Carousel House at all?
Nothing. Nothing. This is the disgusting thing that I keep talking about, trying to bring people to attention of what they're doing. They're having these secret meetings. Why isn't city council open? Everything else is open. Why are they doing Zoom?
I don't think they're going to have a choice very shortly, because everything else is opening. Starting tomorrow,
no, but I'm saying is this is what they do. Phones are going off in the background. You hear all kinds of nonsense in the back. They're not even paying attention to what the people are saying. They got a cowbell that they ring to tell you to shut the hell up. I mean, come on. What kind of city government do we have? Or matter of fact, what kind of city government are we allowing them to have for us? That's the problem. We're allowing this to happen. And if we keep messing around, we're going to have a Republican as a DA, because they claim they backed Larry Krasner, which they were lying. They tell everybody that they did, but we know they didn't. So if these Republicans ever get their gulp up and actually come out and vote during this next election in November, they might win it. So we better wake up and see what's going on, because they have no room for us in this city. Millions and millions of dollars are coming into the city that's supposed to go to the constituents here, and we're going to get none of it.
Well, I have some guests coming on at 3:30 to talk about just that.
Yeah, that's all they're going to do is talk. Look, I'm tired of hearing the talk. I heard them all for the last 6 months. We need $100 million, but they have no plan. They don't have nothing documented about what they're going to do with the $100 million. All they know is that they need $100 million.
So
I mean,
I'm
going to checks are we going to write?
I don't know. And how are we playing? What role are we playing in all of this? You know,
it's our fault. That's the problem. You want somebody to blame? I want everybody to walk in the bathroom and look in the mirror.
The mirror.
I mean, we're letting this government, if they were white people that was mostly city council, the phone be ringing off the hook right now. You couldn't even have a guest because people be crying so much how they want them out of office. But because they black, we give them a pass. The clergy's black, we give them a pass. All they come up with ideas, but nobody does any action. And then we're not even counting the death hustlers that's getting this money to claim they're stopping violence. But we might hit 700 right now. When we ask for city jobs, you know what they say? Oh, we're looking for lifeguards. I mean, how many lifeguards? What are you going? 2,000 lifeguards?
Yeah, I know.
I'm just upset because nobody else has no fire underneath. Everybody's so docile about what's going on. They got the nerve to get mad at Mike White because he tells the truth.
Someone wrote and says, we have emailed Leah Hill Christ. She says, we have emailed Parks and Recreation Commissioner and or Council Member Curtis Jones to request a public meeting about the Carousel House. The Carousel House Advisory is very upset and was not included in the conversation about the future of the Carousel House whatsoever. We have to stop these folks.
I just tried my best just to bring it to your attention about what's going over people's heads, because everybody's worrying about a holiday that we didn't get informed 2 years too late that we was free, which we were never free in the first place. Can you understand that, people? We're still not free. Until they change the two documents, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and stop singing the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, we'll never be free.
Well, you know, freedom, I think, and this is just Andrea talking, starts in our minds, right? It starts in our heads. And if we start to believe everything that is said to us and start to fall prey to the things that are happening around us, then we will never be free, right?
But
Because
why
we'll always be
the Pledge
looking.
of Allegiance? Why are we still doing that? I don't understand that.
I can't answer that for you, Maurice. Mother cannot answer that for you. I don't know.
I'm talking about the people supposed to be woke and they so Afrocentric, but they still got their children putting their hand across their heart when they know those words are not genuine. I'm sorry to ruin your weekend. I just wanted to wake people up before, because, you know, URD goes on holiday for 3 days till Monday, and then we don't get no news until Monday starts again.
Lord have
so
mercy.
I'm just sorry. You know what I'm going to do for y'all tomorrow?
What?
At that thing, I'm going to do Snoop Dogg on y'all tomorrow.
Are you coming?
No. What is Snoop Dogg? What's that song?
I don't know. Bow wow wow yippee yo.
No.
Yippee,
what's the song he sung with the guy?
I don't know.
I ain't messing with y'all.
Goodbye, Maurice. Goodbye. Goodbye. I want to see you, though, so you got to come. You never know if you'll never see Mother again, so you got to come. Hey, he hung up on me. I can't stand him. Brother Joe from Germantown, how are you?
This is Reverend Joe Williams.
It's Reverend Joe. Hi, Reverend Joe. How are you?
Listen, Miss Andrea, I just want to remind you that June is Black Music Month, and every black person ought to know the secret language of black music, the coded songs during slavery. See, our music says one thing and means something else. And some things you can't teach, you have to catch. And white folks can't feel this music. That's why they can't clap on time and all that stuff. So I wanted you to kind of keep that in the back of your mind, how important this music is. And the people that did the music, some of them did so much and received so little. So there's a new museum opening up in Nashville, Tennessee this month to preserve the black history of black music. So I just want everyone listening.
It's opening this month?
They're taking the music from us. I mean, you know, some of the songs that we singing, trying to sing like them, we ain't the Mormon Tabernacle Choir.
Right.
That's a whole different way of singing. That ain't how we sing. But we're so busy sometimes trying to be white, we don't know what to do. Anyhow, the main thing I wanted to call and tell you, tomorrow my wife and I will be celebrating our 60th wedding anniversary. And nobody but God brought us this far, so I wanted to tell you that.
Oh, congratulations to the both of you. 60th wedding anniversary. 60 years.
And 2 years engaged. How you like that?
2 years. So 62. Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
So I've been.
Well, you know, we're going to be at Monument Road tomorrow. Are you going to come and see us so we can wish you a happy anniversary?
Okay. Yes, ma'am. That'll be excellent.
That would be awesome. I look forward to meeting you.
And just remember what I said. We can't give our music away like we're doing it. And see, I have nothing against rap and all that other stuff, but it's killing us. It's making these young guys think they're thugs and gangsters. Let them go down South Philly and tell them people that they're gangsters. They'll find out that they're gangsters, all right.
Yeah.
So,
thank you so much, my brother.
Keep the good work up. And remember, when you can't, God can, and when you won't, God will.
Well, that's right. Thank you, Reverend Joe. Have a good one, okay? All right, bye-bye. It's a thought that I've had. I keep telling folks all the time, you all are singing these songs, but the writers of the songs and the composers of the music, they're the ones that get the money. So make sure you keep, if you are the ones writing the songs, make sure you're keeping your intellectual property. Please, please, please. I've had an intellectual property attorney on here. I'm going to keep doing it, to talk to you about making sure that your stuff is safe and secure and that people can't take it away from you. I have Tyrone and Diane, and it looks like Michael is texting me again. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Hello, my name is Andrea Delzell, and I've been using a wheelchair since I was 5 years old. If I had one message for the general public, it would be relax. Some folks get really flustered around disabled people, so they just pretend we're not there. I've actually had waiters talk to my companion and completely ignore me. People with disabilities just want the same respect and consideration as everyone else.
This is a message from United Spinal Association. Download our disability etiquette booklet at unitedspinal.org.
I would like to play a little tune I just composed not so long ago.
Hey family, do you like hearing the best jazz selections aired by 3 of the best jazz announcers in Philadelphia? Well, tune in to 96.1 FM,
96.1 FM,
and 900 AM, WURD Radio, independent black media for Freedom Sounds of Jazz.
Freedom Sounds of Jazz.
Hear Freedom Sounds of Jazz 10 p.m. Fridays with your hosts in rotation, Aquila, Jonathan Bay, and David Fritz. That's 10 p.m. Friday nights on WURD 96.1 FM and 900 AM, independent black media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. I think you better call Tyrone. Call him. Hi, Tyrone. How are you?
I am good, Mother. How's Mother Earth?
Oh, Mother Earth is good. Are you going to come see me at Monument Road tomorrow?
I wouldn't miss it in the
Yes! So excited, Tyrone.
Now, I was trying to figure out what I was going to bring you. Some flowers. I got to give you something.
Oh.
I don't know. Oh. What you like, brother? What can I bring to show?
Flowers are just fine. Flowers are just fine. Anything purple and yellow. Mother loves those things.
Purple and yellow.
Yes.
I got to figure out something because I'm not going to come and be with you the first time in my lifetime and not give you something to remember me by.
Yeah, it's so funny. I want to take pictures with everybody. All the people that I talk, what's his name? Prince said he's coming 25 deep. I can't wait. I so love you all. You all have kept me sane throughout this pandemic. And tomorrow, I'm telling you, usually I would have probably not been there. But the thought of meeting all of you and just saying thank you it's just going to be wonderful. I'm looking forward to it. I really, really am. So what's going on today, sir?
Well, peace and blessing to you and your family, and much love and respect to my WURD family. Mother, when the young lady was speaking about the, I call it diversity. They could call it multicultural and diversity. But what was the term that y'all used?
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yes, but when they spoke about the law...
critical race theory?
Yeah, critical race theory. See, Mother, when I heard one of the Republicans, I can't remember the name, said that they don't want to teach critical race theory because they don't want their children to feel guilty and bad about, their history. And, Mother,
whether they're going to feel guilty or bad or anything about it, it ain't going to change what the history is. Right. And the history is that they are, they have treated folks in a most barbaric, unhuman and harsh, and all of the words, there are many words you can say how this country has treated Afro-Americans or black folks in this country.
Let me ask you this, though. Let me ask you this, Tyrone. Excuse me for a hot second. Let me ask you this, because we are all sitting up in here and we're seeing everything that's going on. What are we doing to take care of our mental health so that we don't continue to be traumatized over and again by all of this stuff that's happening, so we can think clearly enough to start busting some moves instead of waiting for the folks to give us what we need, as Maurice from North Philadelphia would always say, that if you go get a nonprofit, you go do what you need to do instead of waiting for them at City Hall.
Well, Mother, see, that's why I always try to speak from the positive. I always try to speak from the aspect that we are so creative. Our young folks, have the gift of just, just look, the history of this country. Who created everything?
Right.
Who created everything?
We did, and we know this, So what? Go ahead, Tyrone.
I keep speaking from the fact that folks got to really believe in who they are, what they contribute, and how important each individual in this country is. Because I say that to say that we have so many things thrown at us to get us to think that there is something,
But Tyrone, let me ask you this. Could it be what we're focusing on? Because CNN Business wrote an article yesterday that said this: black-owned banks are booming and they're pouring money back into their communities. Could it be what we're focusing on? An estimated $150 million in equity capital has been invested in black-owned banks since George Floyd was murdered last year, according to the National Bankers Association, a trade group that represents 24 of the country's minority-owned financial institutions. And so the bank can now leverage up to $1.5 billion to serve minority communities. Is it what we're focusing on, sir? You know what I'm saying? Can we start to focus on the things that are really taking care of what we are, and start to look to how we can leverage some of these things versus just seeing the negative in everything that's happening around us? Am I making sense?
Well, that makes sense, brother. And once again, you always hear me say through Tom Ahmed that human capital bond is something that would address these critical issues that we are, caught up in every day. And and you already said, what are we focusing on? What do we need to pay attention to?
Right.
We have the ability to do whatever we want to do. There are much needed resources, and our investment through our tax dollars, through our blood, sweat, and tears that our elders and ancestors have put in this country, we should be given greater opportunity, have greater resources to do the things that we need to do to change the conditions that we're confronted with. And that's why Sultan Ahmed human capital bond is something that is not putting Band-Aids or,
so can you bring something up? So can you bring something about that in writing to me tomorrow when I see you?
Well, okay, yes, because I'm right around the corner right now from Brother Sultan. I'll call.
And tell him come meet me. Tell him come to the store and meet me. I'll be happy to talk to him. I got to take 2 more callers before I take a break. Okay,
Mother. I always love talking to you. And Mother, once again, the beauty that you just, it just vibrates from you, and just the energy that comes from just when your compassion and the passion that you just an awesome individual.
Thank you,
and we're
my
just
brother.
thanking God for you. Love
All
you.
right, I love you too. See you tomorrow, okay?
Very
All right,
good.
bye-bye. All right, bye-bye. All right, let me quickly now take these other two callers. Now, y'all know I got to take a break soon. Diane from South Philly, you've got 3 minutes. How are you, my sister?
Sister Andrea, I'm doing fine. I was laying across my bed, took a miniature nap, and I woke up, and I heard Maurice. Oh, my God. You know what? Y'all need to listen to him because he makes points. He brings out facts. I was listening to the council earlier. They were passing these bills, not even know what, when, or where.
Right.
They even mentioned South Philly. What about South Philly? I heard a rumor, and I hope it is a rumor, that they're trying to take Washington Avenue and convert that into 2 lanes instead of the 4 lanes that they had going east and west. Come on, here again. We have some white businesses down there and residents trying to come up with their own little. I can't even think of the word I'm trying to say. I'm so upset, but I love Maurice. He brings the facts out. It's called accustomed to, and accustomed to, and there's another word when you're used to having your own way.
Right.
Accustomed to and something else. Then hold a minute. Then you talk about the money. And he just mentioned about a black bank. Listen, Andrea, I have a book back in 2013 of a list of black businesses.
Right.
I only could find 2 black dermatologists in Philadelphia. Dr. Grace.
Hey, Diane, okay, so I need to get to you because I have a whole, no. I want you to hear Mother. If you come tomorrow, let's you and I talk because I have a list of all the black people.
There you go.
All the doctors. That's right. Mother don't play those games.
And keep it real.
Yes, ma'am. See you later. All right, bye-bye. All right, bye-bye. All right, so let me just, the last caller, Nabila?
Yes, ma'am. I'm also on Facebook as Rashad Bey. So I just wanted to let you know I'm the person that's going to be
reaching out to me. Yes.
Yes,
okay.
ma'am. I'm a school counselor, and I went through an interview at Lower Merion on the phone, and on the phone.
That is the school district they were telling me about. Lower Merion.
Oh, okay. Where the counselor was got rid of?
Where they hired a white counselor?
So they got rid of a black and got a white, or they got rid of a white and got another
got rid of a white and picked another white one.
Okay.
That's what I heard.
As soon as they opened up the Zoom, because I thought you were talking about within the school district of Philadelphia that happened with the counselor stuff.
No. I hear from all around the state and all around the country, but mostly Philadelphia, Montgomery, Bucks, Chester County. I'm really tied in to all of those districts, one way or the other.
And I saw your name working on some EEOC work with Upper Darby, which is why I reached out to you. So that's what I'm gonna reach out to you about that later.
Yes. Okay.
As soon as I started the Zoom interview, the principal got on the Zoom and he started making excuses for why I wasn't going to hear from them again. And that's not a way to start an interview. And so I beat myself up almost for a whole week, and it hit me. I said, wait a minute. He told me I wasn't going to hear from him again. When they see what happens, they see my resume, it blows them out the water, and then when they see my black face, then all of a sudden, you might not hear back from us.
So do me a favor, reach out to me inbox, please.
Yeah.
It's amazing how people talk to me. I was literally getting my hair done when I heard that.
But can I real quickly, Sultan Ahmed, Bill, I will also try to get that for you and bring it tomorrow.
Okay.
And I just don't know, are y'all considered journalists or news reporters, the people that work at WURD?
Journalists? We're supposed to be considered journalists.
So are journalists supposed to be impartial, or are they allowed to be?
We're supposed to be impartial.
Because the previous person, Charles, he was taking up for Sherelle Parker like that was his job, and people have the right to criticize Sherelle Parker. Or anybody else, they feel like if she's getting paid over $100,000 a year, if people want to criticize the way she talks or the way she hollers and screams, we can do Charles don't need to be, and nobody else, not to pick on him, nobody needs to be taking up for her. You know, but it's crazy. But anyway, yes, ma'am. I will reach out to you, though.
Yes, I'll talk to you soon, okay? Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye. All right, I got to get ready for my 3 o'clock guest, so I'm going to take a quick break. You heard it here first. We are back outside for the first time since the pandemic. Join us on Friday, June 11th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Fresh Grocer on Monument Road in Philadelphia for our Reawaken, Reopen, and Renew event. Join or renew your Sustaining Forward membership for the special early bird price of $75. We will be outside, weather permitting, and just to be on the safe side, we ask that you wear a mask and observe social distancing protocols. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Welcome back. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
For the past 10 years, Comcast has been helping students get ready. We've connected 5 million students from low-income families to low-cost, high-speed internet. We're working with both nonprofit partners and city leaders to create over 1,000 Wi-Fi connected lift zones in community centers nationwide. And now we're committing $1 billion to reach 50 million people with the connectivity, skills, training, and the resources they need to succeed in a digital world. Learn more at comcast.com/education.
Are you feeling the stress of caring for an older loved one or raising your grandchild? You may be eligible to receive up to $500 a month for caregiving services and supplies. Call Philadelphia Corporation for Aging's Caregiver Support Program to learn if you qualify for assistance as a caregiver. Take this number down and call today, 215-765-9000, extension 5300, or learn more at pcacares.org.
This Word Wellness Vignette is brought to you by AARP. Word Radio presents the following wellness tip to support our listeners with mindfulness and motivation.
This is Halana, your resident expert health and wellness coach, with tips to help you stay well. Today, we're going to talk about the importance of exercising regularly. Getting up and moving each day is a huge motivator for your overall health and balance. Exercise is the answer for living well and even helps with stress relief and emotional well-being. Exercising 4 to 6 times per week can help prevent heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, osteoporosis, and even depression. Learning to exercise regularly means 3 simple things. Start low and go slow. Each day, work to build up your endurance little by little. Walking or stretching 20 to 30 minutes 3 times a week is a great place to begin. Depending on your age and condition, taking time each day to get up and get moving can do wonders for your energy and mood. Choosing to exercise regularly is something we can all do to support our overall health. Go ahead and try it today. Stay well with Word. Happy, healthy living.
Stay well with Word. Connect with us at WURDradio.com. This Word Wellness Vignette was brought to you by AARP Pennsylvania. Join Word Radio for a special live broadcast on Friday, June 11th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Fresh Grocer, located at 4160 Monument Road. As the city is set to reawaken, reopen, and renew, we hope that you too will start afresh with us. That's this Friday, June 11th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. with WURD host Tiffany Bacon at Fresh Grocer, 4160 Monument Road. This broadcast is being brought to you by the Fresh Grocer and supported by Dietz & Watson, My Independence at Home, Oak Street Health, Dr. Stephen Blake, Nubian Essentials, and Olaniyan Adefumi. This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Black Talk Media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on Word Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the Word Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Before I go to my next guest, this beautiful sister that's sitting in front of the screen, forgive me for ignoring you during the commercial break. I was responding to the guests on Facebook as I wasn't trying to be rude. For the WURD listeners that are talking, I talked about the list of black practitioners that I see, medical doctors, eye doctor, etc. I'll bring that list with me tomorrow. What I'm going to ask is that you bring a phone so you can take a picture of the list so I don't have to bring 50. I'm trying not to kill any trees, okay? So help mother out. Bring your phone so you can take a picture of the list. I'll have a couple of them with me for those who don't. But let me just tell you about Nia Eubanks Dixon. Mrs. Dixon is an international master trainer, facilitator, counselor, professional dancer, storyteller. I love you already. Teacher and a therapeutic restorative community artist. She's going to talk about the creative praxis, the 6 youth-centered experiential trainings that they offer. So let me just go over. Good afternoon. How are you?
I am wonderful. Super excited to be here to talk. It was great to hear Sister Helena come on and talk about some mental and physical wellness for our bodies and minds. So I am great. I'm very, very excited to be here and talk with the community.
Yes, ma'am. You know, it's so funny. All day today we've been talking about this. So I get up every morning. I'm either riding a bicycle 11 miles during the week, or about this weekend we're doing 50 miles. We're doing a 50-mile ride. And it's all about what we put in our bodies, right? So what we choose to eat, what we choose to listen to, what we choose to think of spirit, you know, and what we feed our spiritual beings. And everybody that I've talked to today have been literally saying just about the same thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it will sink into our people, because so many of us are dying. You know, if it's not from the food, if it's from the negative impact from all the things that we put into our souls. So tell us about your program and what it's about.
Yeah, so Creative Praxis is a training organization. We work with young people, we work with community members, we work with educators and teachers, and we're an art-based healing center training organization for the purposes of cultivating liberation. So we are grounded, as you were saying, in these 6 social-emotional practices that really shift us towards a more liberation approach to community engagement, a liberation-based approach to how we think about education and youth work. And I think one of the things about Creative Praxis that we are very much interested in and concerned about is the healing. And the healing that not only do our families need, but the healing that our children need, that our teachers need, in order for us to be thriving, whole human beings. And so that is the purpose of Creative Praxis. We do trainings all over the world, really centering things like self-care, trauma-informed spaces, healing-centered approaches, and really the talking about race and colonialism and how that trauma has impacted not only brown and black people, but all people, and the healing that is needed for us to address it and then to deal with it on a systemic level. So we are here, we've been here, and we are in support of our community. And really that was the impetus of why we wanted to do a family day of healing. So Creative Praxis throughout COVID, you know, when COVID first came, we was like, okay, what are we gonna do? We are an art-based organization. We have fabulous storytellers and healers on our staff. So we started doing storytelling. We started going out into the community, providing trainings, but we started seeing some things that was like, yo, we need a day. And I was reflecting on Dr. Joy DeGruy, who I love, 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 love. If you haven't read her book, please, I highly recommend it. Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome.
I have that right back here.
Yep, I love it. And one of the things that the sister says is, when have African-American people had a day to center healing? And that was really resonating with me as I was working in community and have been in education for over 20 years. Just noticing we need a day. This has been a year of a lot with COVID-19, with the recent and continued attacks on Black and brown bodies, the violence in our cities, the health conditions and concerns. We need a day that centers our healing. So out of that, Creative Praxis said, well, we're gonna do this. So we said, let's do it. So on June 26th, Creative Praxis, with a number of amazing organizations. Guafe Holistic Hair Care is partnered with us. Blues Babes, which is Jill Scott's foundation, is partnered. The Ladipo Group. There's even a group out in Richmond where this young sister who had a vision about the power of the arts, started creating these art bags for community. And they're going to donate about 200 art bags to young people. So that's us. That's what we've been doing. That's what we're committed to doing, whether it's in North Philly, where this event is going to be.
22nd and Lippincott, right?
22nd and Lippincott on June 22nd. There's going to be therapists there. We also have some art and healing activities, self-care practices. We have great entertainment. Groovy Nate from Washington, D.C. is going to come down and bless us. We're going to be giving out care packages to the community, and also resources where you can go online and download a slew of how do I get therapy? What are questions that I need to ask when I go to see a therapist? Because oftentimes people want to go see a therapist, but where do we start? What questions do I ask? How do I know if this is a good fit? And especially for Brown and Black people, that can be really daunting. So there'll be resources on just how do you get help? What are low to no cost therapeutic services for our family? So this is going to be an interactive, fun, engaging day that just centers our healing.
My Lord, it's a free outdoor event. There'll be food vendors, giveaways, mental wellness resources, and performances. You know, and I have to tell you this. I'm going to be incredibly honest with you.
Okay.
As the country starts to open up, right? Let's really talk, because I think when I share what I am thinking, it helps somebody else who I may not even realize it's helping. So the country is reopening. I am having a lot of angst around doing certain things. So some of my friends said, let's have dinner this past Tuesday. I cooked some curry chicken. I took it over there. I was exhausted just trying to have one-on-one conversations with people. You know, because I just hadn't been doing it. It was my husband or the Zoom meeting. And so I found myself, just the idea of having to drive there, sit and have conversation for a couple of hours, have small talk with people, drive back home, I was exhausted, right? And so I have to tell myself, all right, so what I want people to understand is that I don't want us to go back to life the way it was. That we have to completely reimagine and refocus and stop tearing ourselves down and overexerting ourselves in ways that we don't have to. This morning, you know, I ride on my bicycle trail, like I was telling you. 2 white men were walking in one direction. A black man was walking in the other direction. The 2 white men said hello to the black man. He literally stopped, looked them dead in their eyes, and was like, "You're actually talking to me." And you could see the trauma. Right? So I'm riding our bicycle up, and I said to him, "Good morning," and immediately responded. He said, "Good morning." So I could see that was an issue. Then we ran into a tree that fell across and I'm sharing all of this with you for a reason, because what you're getting ready to do is something that we should probably do once a month, all across cities, all across the country.
Yeah.
We get to a down tree, and I'm pretty strong. I hoist my bicycle on one shoulder. I climb over. I'm almost 6 feet tall. And the person that was riding with me is much shorter. She's 5'2". 2 white women walked up and said, "Let us help you." And they took her by, you know?
Yeah.
So how did you get on this path that you're on right now?
Well, I think for me, you know, just like you said, growing up for me, I'm very blessed that there were people who, just like you said, someone stopped on the side of the road and helped and poured into me. And I think the biggest thing that helped me is that I have a learning difference. I'm slightly dyslexic. And so when I was a child, reading was a challenge, like serious. Like some people say, oh, it's a challenge. No, reading was a challenge. And I think one of the things that changed my life and my own healing journey was that I went to a school called McDonough 15 in New Orleans. And although it was a great academic school, they really paid attention to the whole body of the child. And so even though I wasn't able to read at the level that my peers were, I was a great orator. I could dance my behind off. And so they helped me to connect my mind to my body and help me to know that I am a whole person and that I have some strengths and I have some limits and I have some things that I'm working on. But it was because of that kind of understanding of how do I live completely in my body, helped me. And I think as I started to like travel as a dancer, as an actress, as a storyteller, I started to realize that as Americans specifically, we're disembodied. Like we're very head on like academics and, but we've haven't connected to our bodies. And so because of that, to me, it feels like we have to be on guard all the time. All the time. So I think about that brother you were talking about, who's like somebody's approaching, because from his experience, it's like, there's been some harm that has been caused to me, and my body is saying, this is not okay. Danger. I can't even, my body is saying. And so how do we help people to connect to their whole bodies? How do we help them to process what's happening to their minds, but helping them process what's happening to their body? So I remember, I was doing a training like 3 weeks ago at a school, and there was, talking to the young people, and there was this young brother that got up, and he was visibly getting upset. Like you can see something had triggered him. And he started to pace back and forth, back and forth. And I was like, wow, this is serious. Like the level of trauma that this young man has experienced. And we sat down, he and I together, and talked about the gun violence that he has experienced, what it was like for him growing up in Philadelphia, where an education system failed him, where he couldn't step outside on his block just to chill. And he was like, and now y'all want me to come to school and learn what? I'm not even safe in my own front porch. And so for me, that was another wake-up call of just, damn. We really have to take a moment to pause and say, it's okay to heal. I have to center this healing. Because if not, we, like that brother walking back and forth, just ready to bust and pop.
Yep. And so what does healing look like for you?
Healing for me, like I said before, is when I can step into my whole being, when I can step into my mind, when I can step into my body, when I can step into my emotions and say, what I have is all right. And I can take a moment to go home to myself and kind of look at my own stuff, like what's going on inside, and then really begin to process it and think about it. And I love that you said this part about things are never going to go back, right? We have a new moving forward after COVID, things are never going to go back, and that's okay.
Yes.
How now do we make meaning to the lessons learned? How do we make meaning to the things that have happened? Because it will never go back. And so a part of this event and a part of Creative Praxis is really helping people to make meaning to their present, acknowledging their past and giving honor and respect and observing it. But then how do we make meaning to our present and craft it in such a way that really allows us to go forward?
Yeah, agreed. I talk to people all the time, and I say this to them. Before we got into COVID has actually been a blessing in disguise, when we had to just all stop cold turkey and refocus on what was important to us, right? Many people died. Lots of family members, got very sick from this thing. And so when we choose ourselves, we're choosing to say no to the things that never served us to begin with, right? And so if we're choosing stuff because of money, then we have to stop and think, how is that serving my soul and my body? What wear and tear am I putting on my body that this money could just never, ever replace? So I love the fact that you have this day of healing that's coming up. Tell them again one more time exactly where it's going to be, what time, and all the things that are going to be there.
Yeah, so everyone who is hearing this at the word that is coming out of my mouth, I want to personally welcome you, your family, your children, the elders, all of you who are hearing this, that on June 26th at 22nd in Allegheny, which is in North Philadelphia, right at the Panidi Rec Center, we are going to have a family day of healing where we will center self-care practices, healing and art activities, therapeutic resources. There will be food, There'll be giveaways, self-care giveaways, art giveaways, and don't forget good entertainment that is going to center on community sustainment. There's also going to be some of which we're really excited about, some de-escalation tools. So there'll be a tent that will have de-escalation tools that we can use. So whether it's in our family, so now people are on edge because of COVID and having to readjust. How do we de-escalate when things are happening in our homes? How do we de-escalate situations when they happen in our schools, in our communities? So we're going to be teaching people some really simple things that you can do to help to de-escalate a situation, to keep it in the place of positivity, and to keep it in the place of action that moves us forward as a people. So that's also going to be there. So come learn. There'll be so many things for you to participate in. So come again, June 26th, 22nd in Allegheny. And I just want to give a shout out because there have been so many people who have just been like, yes, I'll donate the stage. I'll donate chairs. I'll donate the tables. You know, talking to a group, what is that group called? Stand by Stage. And they heard about the event and they were like, nah, we're giving the stage, we're giving the tent, the chairs, everything, because we need a day to stop and pause. And literally that's how everybody has been. So you all, we have put together an amazing healing center day. All ages are welcome. Please bring your babies, your children, 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds, because we forget about 14-year-olds. At middle school age, we often forget about them, but we did not. We have activities that are specifically geared towards that middle school and high school age as well. So please come through. And if you have questions, Creative Praxis has a number of resources on our website. We are definitely an organization that's in Philly. We are Black owned. And we care tremendously about the healing of our people. So we are a resource for our teachers. Our teachers are in need of help. What are we going to do when these babies come home, when they come back to school in the fall, full time? So Creative Praxis is here to support our educators, our teachers, and our young people. So again, I can't stress it. This is going to be amazing. Come through, June 26th. Come through.
I love it. Nia Eubanks Dixon, who is the founder and creator of Creative Praxis. Thank you, my sister. Every day we talk about what are the solutions. You are a big old solution for us here in the city of Philadelphia and beyond. Have a good afternoon, okay? And we'll
have a good afternoon. And pizza. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. One thing I just wanted to say. Join us at creativepraxis.org if you have any questions. We would love to see you all there if you have questions, comments, or concerns.
So that's creative, Praxis, right?
Yeah, creativepraxis.org.
All right.
So thank you, sister. It was so good. It was so good to be with you today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Blessing.
We'll see you on the 26th, okay?
See you on the 26th.
Yes,
peace and love, everyone.
Peace
Bye-bye.
and love. All right, bye-bye. Oh, that was so good. I love these conversations. Before I go to break, I want to, no thanks. Let me see if I can open this up. The day before my husband and I came back from vacation, we stopped at this place called Aquaba Mansion in Washington, D.C. Deliberately supported a Black-owned establishment. And so Ayesha Curry wrote in her lifestyle magazine the Black-owned hotels that were just named the best in the United States. Aquaba in Washington, D.C. was one of them. Oak Bluffs in Martha's Vineyard, a favorite of the former first couple, that is Barack and Michelle Obama. She highlighted 14 independent Black-owned hotels across the United States that offer one-of-a-kind lodging options for travelers of all budgets. And she's absolutely right. Aquaba House in Washington, D.C. The sister is on a board here in Philadelphia. I'm looking forward to talking to her. We stayed in the Langston Hughes room, and it was phenomenal. It was just an experience unto itself. And the fact that we were supporting a Black-owned business was just wonderful. So 6 Acres Bed and Breakfast in Cincinnati, Ohio. These are all places that are owned by Black people. The Cochrane House in Detroit, Michigan. Ye Old Manor House in Elkmont, Wisconsin. La Maison I can't read this. It's so small. In Midtown Houston, Texas, and coming soon to California. There's a black-owned establishment coming there. In the Southeast, there is a Salamander Resort and Spa in Middleburg, Virginia. These are all owned by black people. Urban Cowboy in Nashville, Tennessee. Clivedale Historic Inn and Garden in Spartanburg, North Carolina. The Copper Door Bread and Breakfast in Miami, Florida. The Copper Door Bed and Breakfast. And Innisbrook Golf Resort in Palm Harbor, Florida. In the Northeast, the the Lorca Shandaken. I'm sorry, y'all. It's a small print, so I'm trying to read it. That's in New York. The Mansion at Noble Lane in Bethany, PA. I know a lot of my black folks love the Mansion at Noble Lane. The Oak Bluffs in Martha's Vineyard. The Oak Bluffs Inn. The Ivy Hotel in Baltimore, Maryland. And Aquaba in D.C., Washington, D.C. Black-owned hospitality businesses won't survive the double whammy of COVID and racial inequities without intentional patronage. I did this on purpose so that if you're traveling anywhere across the country, this was, let me just make sure that I do this. This is Travel and Leisure by Mina. That was written yesterday, travelandleisure.com. travelandleisure.com, and go look up the black-owned hotels that were just named the best in the United States. We need to pay attention and to patronize them to make sure that they stay alive and well. When my husband and I stayed at Aquaba, they served us breakfast in bed, and it was a black sister who actually grew up in Abington, went to school in Upper Dublin, that served us in Washington, D.C. because she runs her own catering business. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. When you talk about solutions, how can we build and lift each other up so that our businesses can thrive, so that we can create generational wealth beyond fussing about these folks that are not doing anything for us. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Hey, $2 bill here, a.k.a. the rare one. Problem is, I'm so rare, people just saved me. But thanks to the new Cash Vibe with Quick Cash from the PA Lottery, I'm back in business. For just $2, you can get bigger jackpots starting at 150 grand. Plus Quick Cash, a chance to instantly win $2 or $6. Haha, it's good to be wanted.
Play Cash 5 with Quick Cash from the Pennsylvania Lottery. Must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day.
Tune in to More Than That with Gia Peppers live this Sunday, June 13th at 1 p.m. or wherever you listen to podcasts. This Juneteenth episode of More Than That is sponsored by General Motors as a part of their commitment to becoming one of the most inclusive companies in the world. Everybody in.
Stage Door, focusing on arts and culture in and around Philadelphia. Hosted by Tiffany Bacon and co-moderated by Jeffrey Page of the Philadelphia Theater Company. Part of The Source, Fridays at noon, exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on WURDradio.com, the WURD Radio app, or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube. Sponsored by New Voices sponsor Comcast, NBC Universal, and Pico. This is not a fad for us. We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are undeniably, indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media. WURD.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Dana Green Stansel, I see your message on Messenger. I'm going to respond to you when I get off the air. So, yes, I'll send you the list that I have because I know you can't come to the Fresh Grocer tomorrow. So I'll make sure that you have a copy of the list, okay? I had to read this to you before we take our final guest for the day. And if you want to call in, this is now a good time to call just before 3:30. Woman sets sleeping husband's head on fire after he tells her he's moving out. What's wrong with y'all? What's wrong with y'all? This happened in Milwaukee. A woman in Wisconsin allegedly set her sleeping husband on fire, leaving him with severe injuries in a domestic violence-related incident, police said. Around 4 a.m. on June 2nd, police responded to a Milwaukee home where they found a man suffering second and third degree burns. The victim told the responding officer that his wife, Tohansty Marie Smith, who he had been in a relationship for over 8 years, had been acting strangely in recent months, according to a criminal complaint. The victim claimed Smith allegedly appeared to be over-medicating with her prescription drugs, and she sprayed spray paint in the basement, although he stated he wasn't sure if she was huffing its purpose. The day of the fire, the victim said he got off work, and when he arrived home, she was pacing around the house. Sounds like a mental health issue here, but she set him on fire. So this is what I'm talking about. When we talk about healing, this is a sister that needs some serious healing, and we have to pay attention to the cues that people give us as it's happening here. Let me just make sure. Let me shut this down. Some of this stuff is just all over the place. This was written by Newsbreak. Philadelphia police reinstated officer who was fired for posting that refugees should starve to death. The Philadelphia Police Department reinstated an officer who was previously fired for offensive Facebook posts in 2019. Christian Fenico was reinstated with full back pay after it was ruled that an arbitrator that his social media post did not prevent him from being a valuable police officer. One of those posts stated the refugees should starve to death. He was one of 72 officers who faced discipline in 2019 after more than 300 officers' social media posts were published by the Plainview Project. We have talked about from the outset how disturbing, how disappointing and upsetting these posts are, and how they will undeniably impact police-community relations, former Commissioner Richard Ross said at the time. We are not naive to the fact, and nor are we dismissive of it. 15 officers were forced off the job due to the research by the Plainview Project. The majority of the other officers received command-level discipline that maxed out at a 5-day suspension, according to NBC 10. All right. Brother Spread Love, how are you, my brother?
God bless and God is love. Manners and respect.
What's going on,
Andre,
sir?
how are you today?
I'm hanging, honey. How are you?
Give God the glory every time, you know?
Yes.
Straight, yeah. And I just want to say love and give thanks for your works and your show. Our brother Mike on the board is always doing an amazing job.
Yes.
The entire WRD family. Of course, we always remember everyone suffering and everyone working to make it better. And everyone incarcerated, and especially incarcerated falsely. Free Mumia. And I'm not going to take too much time. I want to say thank you for the show today, too. Maurice from Southwest. Bless your heart, my brother. You was killing it. Straight up and down. I was thoroughly amused and enjoyed. Not that it's a joke, but I'm thankful for the way you made my spirit feel with your commentary. And while you were saying earlier, they had a song back in the day, I think expresses it, how we can accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative.
Yep.
And that's not to dismiss the negative that's going on. You know, we don't got to air our dirty laundry, but we do got to clean house.
Yes.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? You got to put trash out. Trash don't take itself out.
That's right.
Last time I checked. But with Jai, you can always be helpful. Also, I wanted to say it's the anniversary of when them claims say, right? Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Order of Merit. Hero, man, a hero. They passed on gone in England, you know? You know it?
All right.
No. And it's Maxie Priest Earthstrong.
It's
so
Maxie Priest's birthday.
Maxie Priest,
oh, nobody can lie to me. I'm Maxie Priest, man. Thank you. See, you always call me and tell me who the folks are having their Earthstrongs. Yes.
Well, you know, Mama, there's one thing we have to do. There's two things we have to do if we want to do right. Breathe and love.
Breathe and love, yep.
So, you know, just more love. I don't want to take up time with a bag of talk, but just
all right.
Plant the seed and watch it till I grow, you know?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Selassie, I live job.
Rastafari. Yes, my brother. Take it easy. All right. Bye-bye. All right. So I want to do this quickly before our next guests come on in 2 minutes. And I'm hoping that those guests will be able to help us. Let's see. I'm telling you. The city announced, David Chang wrote this in Newsbreak, Philadelphia to lift indoor mask mandate on Friday, ending COVID restrictions. The city announced Wednesday that as of 12:01 a.m., Friday, June 11th, Philadelphia will end its final 2 COVID restrictions, the indoor mask mandate as well as the 11 p.m. last call for restaurants. The lifted restrictions apply to both fully vaccinated and unvaccinated. However, officials still strongly, this is going to be interesting. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. These darn articles have thing in the city. Officials still strongly urge everyone to become fully vaccinated. Those who received their final dose of the COVID vaccine at least 2 weeks ago are considered fully vaccinated. For nearly 15 months, the city of Philadelphia has had restrictions in place to protect each other, and I have no doubt that these restrictions saved countless lives, Mayor Jim Kenney said. But Friday will be a day that we've been looking forward to, getting back to doing the things that we love. An average of 53 cases of COVID-19 have been identified per day in June in Philadelphia, the lowest number of cases since the start of the pandemic, according to the health department. Lifting the requirement, let me just see what Michael's saying to me, because, hold on one second. All right. Let Reggie Banks in for me. Lifting the requirement for vaccinated people to wear masks indoors doesn't mean that we are totally past COVID-19. Acting Health Commissioner Dr. Cheryl Bettigoli said dozens of Philadelphians are still being diagnosed with COVID-19 every day, which means that more of us still need to get vaccinated. All right, let me go back over here and get to my next guest. I can hear them, so I'll be over there in a minute. Let me see. Ooh, that's a lot of noise in the background. Dr. Reggie Banks, are you there? I need to see you. I can't see you at all. All right, Michael, I don't know what's going on there. Is he still here? Because I can't see him. If he's not on the screen, I can't see him at all. So I don't even know if he's here or not.
I'm here.
There you go. Good afternoon. How are you? I am so good. Let me formally introduce you, because I'm looking forward to this conversation, because I believe you all are a part of the solution that we're looking for, right? Dr. Reggie Banks, CEO of Dunbar Community Counseling Services, board member to Coalition of Culturally Competent Providers, CCP. And I think we're waiting for Asher Kemp. Let Asher Kemp in for me, please, Michael. Asher Kemp, Executive Director of CCP, which is Coalition of Culturally Competent Providers. Today you're standing in for Senator Hughes for a press conference regarding $3 billion of federal aid on Monday. The Coalition of Culturally Competent Providers, the senator and others want to make sure that dollars being allotted to support those poor and disenfranchised communities will receive a fair share of dollars to support the increasing social determinants due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So good afternoon to the both of you, Mr. Kemp and Mr. Banks, Dr. Banks. How are the two of you doing?
Well, good morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome to The Source. I think this is the first time that I'm talking to the both of you. So, explain to us what's getting ready to happen and why are you both involved?
So I'll let my esteemed colleague go first, Dr. Reginald Banks.
Okay. Well, what we're here for today is to talk about the need for community mental health services in our community and the need historically for funding with these organizations. And if you think about it, it makes sense that communities of color would benefit from agencies of color who are providing these services. And it doesn't mean that you have to be black or brown in order to deliver services. It's just that in our community, these organizations have historically been underfunded, they've been under-resourced, and then when you think about the historical funding model for mental health services, agencies of color receive almost less than 1% of the budget. So we're not in a position to support our community at the level that we should, even if we're on the ground, right? We're connected to the CBOs, the community-based organizations, all types of organizations. These organizations send referrals our way, and oftentimes these referrals surpass the needs for mental health services. Right. We could go to a home and there need to be someone to fix the roof because the rain is pouring in the house and that's causing some trauma. Right. We can go there and they may not have food. We can go and find out that people need access to resources around housing and many other services. So mental health is just one component, but it's the main component, but it has arteries when we think of the body to all these other components of a community that we need. So the funding that we've received historically has been so low that many of our organizations have gone out of business. So this is a moment right now for us to make right what has historically been done to bolster our community mental health agencies and put them in a position to do more and to be more to our communities at this most desperate time and moment.
All over the place. So, Mr. Kemp, Asher Kemp Jr., thank you and welcome to The Source. What role do you play in this? You're part of this press conference that's happening on Monday?
Yes, I am. Our press conference will be at historic Northern Children's Services on Ridge Avenue on Monday the 14th, approximately around 9 a.m. And like my esteemed colleague said, especially now with the hiding of the coming out of the pandemic in terms of our communities of color, resources and services and access to services and prevention was somewhat lacking even then. And so when you talk about coming out of a pandemic, and I can even tell you from my own situation of having children and also having to teach them work while you're at home and balancing all that out, our normal mechanism of coping is not there. And so when you relate to what's going on with the violence within the city and things of that nature, and we are so glad to be a part of this effort with Senator Vincent Hughes to really look at bringing services to communities of color and making sure the equity is in our communities.
So I'm reading here from Nikki Bagby that the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration is distributing $3 billion dollars in the American Rescue Plan funding, the largest aggregate amount of funding to date for its mental health and substance use block programs. The Community Mental Health Services Block Grant Program and Substance Abuse Prevention and Treatment Block Grant Program, SABG, will disperse $1.5 billion each to states and territories. So what you're asking for is to make sure that you're getting your fair funding, correct?
Correct, yes.
What is the likelihood with Senator Hughes in the backdrop with you that you will get some of this funding? Because it's not even just the mental health, it's everything that's coming towards the state and the city of Philadelphia. We have been, when they delineate the funding, we are always getting the 1%, the 0.5%, which works out to nothing, right? But they expect so much out of us. So what do you want? What are you expecting from the general audience now? How can we support you in making sure that you get what you need?
Sure. Please call your elected officials, your state reps, your state senators, to let them know that you want to see this money designated for your community. And Ms. Andrea, you talked about something of what we talked about in the field of mental health is the social and emotional determinants of health and well-being. Yeah. So it's all those things. It's housing, it's workforce development. So we are really strongly advocating. And, you know, if you want to come and turn out at Northern Children's Services in the morning, we welcome you to come out and stand with us because these dollars need to be put in our communities.
Can you tell me where the address is again, please? So that
sure, it's 5301 Ridge Avenue Philadelphia, PA.
And if they need to call you for more information or reach out to you, how can they do that?
Sure. Let me give you the coalition's number. And excuse me, I'm getting old these days with all this gray. So I have to just look it up real quick and give it to you. And here's our number. I'll give you both our 1-800 number and our main number.
Okay.
So our main local number is 215-695-6556. And again, 215-695-6556. And our 1-800 number is 1-800-948-8815. Again, 1-800-948-8815.
Okay, thank you so much. Dr. Banks, are you a practicing therapist?
I'm a licensed psychologist, and I'm the chief psychologist at Dunbar Community Counseling Services here at 4232 Parkside Avenue.
So you've seen it all.
Yes, not only have I seen it all, I've lived it. I come from a single parent household in East St. Louis, Illinois, raised with all women, which is probably why I became a psychologist. But the reality is that I've studied this field because of my own background, and I've been in Philly for 30 years. I've worked at a variety of agencies. I wrote programs for these agencies, but what I found, Ms. Andrea, is that these organizations that I've worked for, and they've been a diverse group of organizations, there was one thing that was consistent. The agencies that were of a different hue received a lot of funding, and those agencies that were African American, which I worked at, received less funding. But they're working with the same population. So some of this, you know, I'm a clinician, so I'm not a politician. And some of these are infrastructural systemic issues that have been longstanding and have to be resolved outside of my clinic. What I do know that as a doctor, I train African-American therapists. I train all therapists from all walks of life to work with this population. We have the cultural competence to work with this population. And when we say cultural competence, we're talking about one's ability to have knowledge, awareness, and skills that are ongoing and being developed and supervised so that we can begin to do the work at the community level. And we call this evidence-based practice in theory, but there are times when we do practice-based evidence where we've learned that some of the things we have to do is to adapt these these evidence-based models in a cultural manner so that they would work in our community. And so these are the things that need to be done at a level where our agencies are doing with one another, and we're trying to do in the community. But we have to have the tools. Yes. Every doctor needs to have the medications to be effective at what they do. They need the tools to work on the surgeries in the way that they need to work. And mental health is ever more clear that service is most definitely needed with our populations today. So part of what we are asking for is to give us give the capacity to us so that we can save and heal our communities. I don't need another agency from New Jersey or from the suburbs to come in here and work where we already work. Give us the capacity to service our community like any other community would want. And so we're asking that these funds in this moment, and we're talking about COVID has revealed the true manner by which we are situated in America, and we've paid a price, and we continue to pay a price as a people. So we're in need of this service.
Hold on one second. I have to take a quick station break. We got to pay some bills. and then I'll be back, and you and I are going to talk a little bit more about this, because let me say this. We're talking about evidence-based practices. I have seen many of these white institutions come in, take our evidence-based practices, and write the grants to get the money while we're actually doing the work. So we want folks to know, you know, just because it sounds good, it may not be exactly what we need to have happen, and we need to go to the folks who can actually work with us. Hold on 1 second, please. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we will be right back with our final segment after these messages.
Jefferson Health offers no-cost COVID-19 testing sites at St. Raymond of Pinafort Church. Testing is on Thursdays and Saturdays. The second testing location has been added at Richard Allen Preparatory Charter School. Testing is on Wednesdays and Fridays. For testing hours and more information, visit jeffersonhealth.org/community testing.
We are Black American members of the National Academy of Medicine.
We are your neighbor, person sitting next to you in church. We are members of the Black community.
Too often our health has been ignored and even abused.
As members of the Black community, we understand your distress.
We are confident the research was done correctly.
We support the COVID-19 vaccine. We encourage you to get vaccinated.
Do it for our community.
Sponsored by the National Academy of Medicine.
The WURD Radio newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting WURDradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on WURD Radio, messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese, exclusive articles and multimedia content, and resources. Stay informed with the WURD Radio newsletter.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to the final segment of The Source. If you're just joining us, I have on the line with me Dr. Reggie Banks, CEO of Dunbar Community Counseling Services and board member to the Coalition of Culturally Competent Providers, and Asher Kemp, who is the executive director of that organization, Coalition of Culturally Competent Providers. What we're discussing today is the fact that $3 billion in federal aid money is coming towards us, and this group of people and Senator Vincent Hughes wants to make sure that the money being allotted sent their way to support those poor and disenfranchised communities who will receive a fair share of the dollars to support the increasing social determinants due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And so we're talking about this, so access to the services. Let's talk about that a little bit, like training for existing and new providers in the area of cultural competence who are proficient in working with African American community. How does that work? How does that pan out for you, Dr.
Well, listen, I'm a graduate of Temple University in the field of counseling psychology, and I'll be honest with you, when I was a student, I was looking for how to apply this field to my community. And I had to go over to Gladfelter Hall and study a few courses under Dr. Malefi Asante. And then I began to realize that there were many, many African-centered scholars that had already been providing the roadmap for us to pick up the torch and move it forward. So in becoming a community-based psychologist, I had to study the field a little further and outside of the syllabus, if you understand what I mean. And that's when I realized that, our people's approach to how you work with us is a unique approach. It's a cultural approach. And when you think of any theory, every theory has a cultural approach. That's how it became a theory. And it's no different than when communities come over and they set up some type of food shop. Right. And that food shop is based on what? Their culture. The religion is culture. The healing in psychology becomes culture. So what we're trying to do is not only be agencies of change that have capacity in our communities, we're trying to teach and train and supervise the next generation of therapists to get this information to be more effective at what they do. You cannot take a recipe and give it to our people and expect that recipe not to have some flavor to it. It has flavor because that's who we are.
Yes.
It has rhythm because that's who we are. It has verb because these are the things that are essential in our DNA that we have lost coming over here as a people. And part of our healing is to get to know who we really are, to get to know our customs, our values, reconnect to this mother wit that we grew up with.
Right.
And then also to make sure that we build infrastructure in our community. We're not talking anything new. This has been done in many other communities before, whether it be Wall Street, Black Wall Street, or Rosewood, any of these agents of communities of agency that had to happen in order for a community to exist. So we're just saying we want to serve our community. We want to do it in a cultural fashion. We want to train supervisees. We want to train our workers to be effective in a cultural format and manner, and that we can do it with these monies, and we can build infrastructure to do it in these schools where all of this service really sort of is needed, as well as in the community service sector.
Thank you both so much. Mr. Kemp Jr., Asher Kemp Jr., tell us again exactly where this is going to happen, what time it is going to happen, and give us the phone numbers again of how people can reach you to become involved.
Sure. It's going to happen in Northern Children's Services, which is located on Ridge Avenue in Philadelphia, PA. And our phone number to reach us if you have questions about the event. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me not forget to give you the time. It's 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
And our phone number is 215-695-6556. Again, 215-695-6556.
Okay. Thank you both so much, Dr. Banks and Mr. Asher Kemp Jr. I wish you the best of luck. I want to stay abreast of what's happening. Let me know. You can come back on here and tell us if you got the funding, what happened as a direct result of your press conference with Senator Vincent Hughes. You both have a fantastic evening, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're so welcome. Bye-bye. All right, we're coming to the end of our show now. That's it. The source is over, honey. I'm so looking forward, and I mean, you're quite welcome, Nikki Bagby. I'm so looking forward to seeing all of you tomorrow morning at 4160 Monument Road at Fresh Grocer. You know, where Tiffany Bacon is going to be running her show live there from the Fresh Grocer from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Some of the radio show hosts and the producers may be out there. I know I will be. I am deliberately coming so that I can meet some of you, many, many, many of you that I have been talking to over the last year, just to say thank you for making this last year palpable for me. Specifically because you were just amazing to me. I'm going to do one more thing I'm going to read, and then I'm going to let this go until I see you all tomorrow. So please come see Mother, okay? Come see Mother. Come renew your WURD membership. Come talk to Tiffany Bacon. See all the other hosts who may show up. And I just want you to know this. WHYY posted this 18 hours ago. I've got a couple minutes. Philly Council bill limiting landlords' use of eviction records advances. Dominique London, this was written by, posted by WHYY. Dominique London's family lived in their Winfield apartment most of her life. At 28, it was the only place she has ever thought of as home. The first sign of change came in December of 2016 when her family got a letter saying new management had taken over the apartment building. 2 months later, she got another letter saying her family had to leave and only had 2 months to find another home. I make sure that this doesn't turn into okay, all right. And so She tried to apply for another apartment nearby but couldn't get approved anywhere. She was confused. She was employed and knew she could afford 3 times the rent. I didn't understand why there was no mechanism in place to explain to me why, she said. It wasn't until later that she learned she actually had an eviction on her record and didn't know about it because she had never been summoned to court. London had never been evicted, yet the threat from a landlord followed her. Eventually, she found a place that would accept her, but it's structurally unsafe. My entire quality of life is much different, and the fact that it wasn't my choice to be here drives me absolutely crazy, she said. I have been diagnosed with PTSD specifically because of the displacement. London told her story at the latest committee hearing about Councilmember Kendra Brooks' Renters Access Act. The legislation passed Tuesday night out of committee and will be up for final vote on June 17th. The pair of bills, originally introduced in April, would prohibit landlords from denying housing based solely on eviction records and require them to provide another reason for denying prospective tenants. The coupled bills will also provide guidelines on how eviction records can be used when landlords review applications if they pass. Applying for rental housing should not be a black box, Brooks said. Making this process more transparent will help landlords find tenants that best meet the appropriate criteria and save renters from spending hundreds of dollars in applications they can't afford. One last thing I'm going to do because I know Nick Taliaferro is coming. Philadelphia Common Pleas Court Judge Lyris Young suspended for 6 months for blatant and inexcusable conduct. A Philadelphia judge will be suspended for 6 months after a state judicial panel ruled that her repeated, clearly improper conduct in family court was blatant and inexcusable. The people that have come to me through about the Department of Human Services and talked to me about this particular judge, the ruling issued late Wednesday by the Court of Judicial Discipline also mandates that Common Pleas Court Judge Lyris Young serve a probationary term for the rest of her tenure, which extends into 2026. She will also be barred from serving in family court and must write apology letters to the people the panel said she has wronged. Coming up next is Nick Taliaferro from with Evening Words. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Bye-bye.